Chapter 774. An invisible grayish-white wheel of light flashed across Ning Cheng's consciousness. Although it was just a simple comprehension, Ning Cheng felt a tearing pain in his sea of consciousness. It was invisible and intangible, as if everything would turn into nothingness after this grayish-white wheel of light passed through it. Ning Cheng vaguely felt that this grayish-white wheel of light couldn't be blocked by even a domain. What was this thing? How could it be so terrifying? The shock deep in his heart woke Ning Cheng up abruptly. He looked up at the Temple of Time's door, which still had 3 colors flowing around it. Suddenly, he turned around, raised his hand, and shot out a few mysterious trajectories. A faint wheel of light formed from the laws of time shot out by Ning Cheng. Even Ning Cheng himself looked at the wheel of light in shock. He felt sure that others couldn't see his wheel of light because it was composed entirely of the Tao charm of time. It couldn't be seen with one's spiritual consciousness or sight. Only cultivators who had come into contact with the laws of time, or those who were much more powerful than him, could sense this faint wheel of light. Everything in front of this wheel of light would turn into nothingness. Any life would come to an end. The originally empty circular temple of time, after Ning Cheng's wheel of light, gave off a burst of cracking sounds. It was as if Ning Cheng had split open something and split it apart. But when Ning Cheng looked at the empty house before, it was obvious that there was nothing inside. After the grayish-white wheel of light, the circular room in the Temple of Time became even clearer. Ning Cheng took in a breath of cold air. Only then did he realize that there was something in the Temple of Time before, but he couldn't see it. The reason he couldn't see it was because there was originally a faint restrictive array formation inside. His attainments in array formations weren't high enough, which was why he couldn't see it. But now, after he split open the grayish-white wheel of light, the array formation in the circular Temple of Time had been cleanly split open by him. The scene in front of him suddenly became clear. If not for comparison, Ning Cheng wouldn't have understood it. Compared to before, he realized that he had been blinded by the array formation before. This is a time wheel. Ning Cheng didn't care about the things in the Temple of Time. Instead, he raised his hand and looked at his palm carefully. The huge surprise made Ning Cheng completely immersed in it. Even if he was slow, he understood what spirit technique he had just comprehended. That's right, it was a time wheel. It was the same law of time, but it was completely different from the law of time from before. The characteristics of the time wheel were violent and destructive. Anything that stood in front of the time wheel would turn into nothingness under the power of the time wheel. The ice crystal plane was the best example. The ice crystal plane was ravaged by the time wheels all year round. It was a flat area that stretched as far as the eye could see. There, nothing could protrude even half a centimeter. The time wheel would flatten all protrusions. Even if he did not obtain a single thing, Ning Cheng was still unable to contain the ecstasy in his heart. He had also comprehended a second law of time-related spirit technique, the time wheel. In terms of power, the time wheel didn't lose out to his laws of time, sunset's twilight. One was a gentle blade, and the other was a whirlwind. As the excitement in his heart gradually subsided, Ning Cheng continued to look at the circular Temple of Time. The circular Temple of Time also had nothing inside it. Or rather, even if there was something inside it, it would turn into nothingness under Ning Cheng's newly comprehended spirit technique, the time wheel. However, in the center of the Temple of Time, there was a circular jade stone with a radius of half a meter. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness repeatedly confirmed that there was no danger in this circular jade stone. Only then did he carefully walk over it. Ning Cheng had just stepped onto the circular jade stone when an extremely horrifying starry sky spirit chi surged over. Ning Cheng felt sure that even if he had seen many good things and used many treasures for cultivation, he had never encountered such rich starry sky essence spirit chi. If an ordinary person stood on this starry sky essence spirit chi, even if they didn't cultivate, the spirit chi would explode. The starry sky essence spirit chi over it was too horrifying. What's more, this starry sky essence spirit chi didn't overflow. Ning Cheng took in a breath of cold air and quickly used his spiritual consciousness to penetrate it. To his regret, although he could feel the unparalleled starry sky spirit chi over it, he couldn't use his spiritual consciousness to penetrate it or take away this starry sky spirit chi. At this moment, Ning Qing couldn't care about anything else. What he lacked the most was starry sky spirit chi. With such a high-quality starry sky spirit chi, it was the best place for his cultivation. Ning Qing no longer thought about going out immediately. Instead, he operated his cultivation method on top of the jade stone and started to crazily absorb the starry sky essence spirit chi. What the mysterious yellow formless feared the most was not too much starry sky spirit chi, but not enough starry sky spirit chi. For others, cultivating in this place might be much better than using permanent essence pills and spiritual veins for cultivation. But for Ning Qing, the benefits weren't something that could be calculated with just a few words. In this place, as long as he had the ability, no matter how much starry sky spirit chi he absorbed, the jade stone could provide it for him. Since coming out of the eternal night domain, Ning Qing had rarely had such an enjoyable cultivation opportunity. Even when he advanced to the peak of life and death realm and absorbed countless permanent essence pills and an entire starry sky essence chi vein, he still couldn't cultivate in this place. As Ning Qing absorbed the endless pure starry sky essence spirit chi, it quickly formed a starry sky essence spirit chi cocoon around Ning Qing. This cocoon wrapped around Ning Qing, preventing any starry sky spirit chi from leaking out. Ning Qing's cultivation, under this kind of crazy cultivation, slowly rose. The most worthless thing in cultivation was time. 3 months later, Ning Qing finally opened his eyes. He had cultivated to his heart's content. However, the good fortune origin aura couldn't coordinate with the flow of spirit chi, which reduced his progress and limited his perception and meridian expansion. During these 3 months, even after absorbing so much starry sky spirit chi, his cultivation only advanced from the peak of middle stage life and death realm to the full circle. Ning Qing took out the mysterious yellow bead and placed it on the jade platform before entering the mysterious yellow bead. Without the mysterious yellow bead's full cooperation, his cultivation speed was still too slow. After communicating with the mysterious yellow bead and the jade platform, Ning Qing once again entered into a crazy secluded cultivation. This time, Ning Qing had just started cultivating when his cultivation broke through the shackles and entered the late-stage life and death realm with the help of the mysterious yellow origin. Ning Qing felt fortunate to have found the right place. At the late-stage life and death realm, his absorption of starry sky spirit chi had more than doubled. Without the Temple of Time, he wouldn't have found a suitable cultivation place. Even if he had countless permanent essence pills and starry sky essence chi spirit veins, he could only absorb and cultivate step by step. What's more, he didn't have these things. Since the return of Grand Culmination Starry Sky's leveled heart Heavenly Emperor, Grand Culmination Starry Sky had regained its usual tranquility. However, after a few years, many people discovered a problem. That is, leveled heart Heavenly Emperor no longer cared about matters within the starry sky. Even when fights broke out in Culmination Starland's Eternal Heaven Starry Sky City, leveled heart Heavenly Emperor never came out to deal with them. Similarly, he also didn't instruct his subordinates to come out and deal with them. Over time, this kind of thing gradually became a habit. Even Culmination Starland was in such a state, not to mention Striking Order Starry Sky, Bright Heaven Starry Sky, Snapping Ascension Starry Sky and Silver Feather Starry Sky. If Chuan Xinlo hadn't returned, these starry skies would have already been designated as Starry Sky Heavenly Emperor. However, Chuan Xinlo returned and immediately went into deep seclusion. As a result, these starry skies didn't have any starry sky emperors. The only place in Striking Order Starland that no one dared to touch was the mysterious yellow celestial river. This place had the premier Pill Emperor, Zhang Caihe, an eternal level powerhouse, as well as several heaven-seated powerhouses loyal to Ning Qing. Although Ning Qing of the mysterious yellow celestial river had disappeared like Chuan Xinlo, no one dared to come to this place to cause trouble. The radial immortal star was located on the edge of the night essence celestial river, and the starry sky spirit chi was scarce on the edge of the radial immortal star. Ever since the Ice Immortal Ridge incident happened on the radial immortal star many years ago, fewer cultivators came to this place, let alone the edge of such a remote planet. At this time, in an inconspicuous mountain range on the edge of the radial immortal star, a young woman in a yellow robe suddenly appeared. If Ning Cheng were here, he would have been ecstatic. This was Ji Luofei, who had been missing for many years. Ji Luofei had hidden herself after obtaining the ring from the Ice Immortal Ridge. Even after so many years, she had never left the radial immortal star. She knew that with her strength, it might be safer to hide in the radial immortal star. Once she left the radial immortal star, there might be more uncertainties, especially when the Ice Immortal Ridge opened and closed. Fortunately, the ring contained a lot of medicinal pills and cultivation resources. It even contained a small half of a starry sky essence chi spirit vein. For so many years, Ji Luofei had been hiding on the edge of such a remote planet lacking in starry sky spirit chi. When she and Sister Cheonghua were driven out of the everlasting sacred shrine without any resistance, and when the white-robed woman took Sister Cheonghua from her hands, she realized that without strength, nothing could be guaranteed. At this moment, she finally understood why Ning Cheng had to put in so much effort to find cultivation resources, in order to improve his own strength. With so many resources and years of desperate seclusion, she finally advanced to the Heaven's Mandate realm. Heaven's Mandate cultivators, even if just at the early stage, were considered powerhouses on the radial immortal star. Ji Luofei knew that she could finally go out and find Ning Cheng. Because even if she continued in seclusion, advancing to the heaven-seated realm wouldn't happen in a short period of time. It might take 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, or even tens of thousands of years. Ji Luofei walked into the Pendant City's trade union again. The last time she came here, she learned about the Ice Immortal Ridge. Although she almost died in the Ice Immortal Ridge, she also obtained her own opportunities in the Ice Immortal Ridge and successfully cultivated to the Heaven's Mandate realm. This time, Ji Luofei came to the Pendant City's trade union again, not to inquire about the new mystic realm, but to find out what happened during her seclusion in the past few years. She even looked forward to learning a little bit about Ning Cheng. As soon as she entered the Pendant City's trade union, Ji Luofei felt shocked by a task displayed on the Array Formations display screen. Chapter 775. Ning Cheng couldn't help but turn around and send out another time wheel. At this time, no one was paying attention to the other quests. Almost all the people were flocking to form teams to take up the task of killing Yan Ji. However, Ning Cheng couldn't continue cultivating. He had already reached the full circle of the life and death realm, yet he couldn't sense the thunder tribulation of the eternal realm. Catcha! With a slight sound, Ning Cheng felt shocked. His spirit technique, Time Will, easily blasted open the triangular Temple of Time's gate. Moreover, the 3 perpetual moon time keys still remained in his hand, without any effect. Did he want to attack this gate? Ning Cheng had just thought of attacking it when he recalled the new spirit technique, Time Wheel, that he had comprehended on this triangular gate. Inside the Temple of Time, the mysterious yellow bead placed on top of the jade flashed slightly before disappearing without a trace. A moment later, Ning Cheng's figure appeared on top of the jade. Chuan Xinluo's cultivation was constantly stabilizing and improving. If he didn't improve, he would die an ugly death in the future. Ning Ruoqing could still fight Chuan Xinluo to a draw for now, but whether she could beat Chuan Xinluo in the future was another matter entirely. It's just that there weren't many cultivators above the undead realm here, or rather, all the cultivators above the undead realm had teamed up and left. Although his cultivation at the peak of the life and death realm had grown much stronger compared to before, it still wasn't enough for Ning Cheng. He knew that even if he stood in front of Chuan Xinluo now, it still wouldn't be enough. The pure starry sky essence spirit chi under the jade seemed to be endless. Even with Ning Cheng's crazy absorption rate and cultivation for so many years, the starry sky essence spirit chi not only didn't decrease, but instead grew even denser. Ning Cheng picked up the 3 perpetual moon time keys and didn't continue to use them to open the gate of the Temple of Time. He didn't fall into the epiphany of the laws of time just now. Instead, he stared at the gate for an incense stick worth of time. During this incense stick worth of time, the triangular gate of the Temple of Time didn't open even the slightest gap. This mission offered a bounty for killing a female cultivator, a female cultivator named Yan Ji. Not only that, but there was also a portrait of this female cultivator behind it. Another cultivator sitting in the guild hall spoke with disdain, "Since so many people have teamed up to take on this mission, what's the use of taking on this mission?" Moreover, Yan Ji's location and approximate cultivation were indicated at the end of the bounty. Yan Ji was in Thorntooth Lake, and her strength was between the undead realm and Heaven's Mandate realm. It was precisely because of this heaven-defying effect that this pill was called Heaven Mending. It could make up for congenital deficiencies and deficiencies in cultivation. To be able to take out this kind of treasure to kill an ordinary cultivator, it showed just how much hatred this person had for Yan Ji. Thinking about it, even if the phenomenon of time flowing crazily occurred, he could still hide in the mysterious yellow bead. Ha ha ha. With a burst of wild laughter, a figure suddenly appeared in the vast and boundless starry sky. As a starry sky cultivator, there was no one who did not know about the heaven-mending beginning essence pill. This was an ancient medicinal pill, and it was unlikely that anyone could refine it now. Perhaps even the number 1 pill Emperor Tsang Saiha could not refine the heaven-mending beginning origin pill. I'll join. Ji Luofei did not hesitate to stand up and speak. Originally, she planned to go to the Thorntooth Lake alone to look for Yan Ji. But now that this person said that he knew Yan Ji's location, she naturally chose to join him without hesitation. Is there anyone else who wants to form a team for mission number 36? If so, let's go to the Thorntooth Lake together. Besides, even if we can't complete the 36th mission, we can still do well in the Thorntooth Lake. An early-stage Heaven's Mandate cultivator stood up and spoke up. Just then, someone exclaimed, "Hey, the 36th mission has been updated." In addition to the Great Heaven Essence fruit, the 36th mission also includes a Starry Sky basic battleship, 10,000 perpetual moon pills, and 100 million purple coins. Heavens, is this really the reward for killing a cultivator who hasn't even reached Heaven's Mandate realm? Ning Qing took out the 3 keys to the Temple of Time and put the 3 keys into the 3 keyholes. The Temple of Time's triangular ice crystal gate once again gave off a black, white and gray Dao charm. Ning Qing waited for a long time but still did not see any signs of the Temple of Time's gate opening. With so many cultivation resources and the heaven-mending beginning essence pill, in just a few years, his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. Duan Gantai couldn't help but feel proud of himself. But at this time, someone put a bounty on Yan Ji's head. Even if Ning Qing wasn't here, she couldn't sit back and do nothing. Ji Luofei naturally knew who Yan Ji was. Ning Qing had told her about it more than once. She even had a portrait of Yan Ji that Ning Qing had given her. At the receiving Heaven's Stone, after Yan Ji was forced into the void, Ning Qing, out of anger, had razed several forces to the ground. Even if the Great Heaven Essence fruit wasn't in accordance heavenly pill, it was still a Starry Sky spirit fruit that could drive all Heaven's Mandate cultivators crazy. Even if this spirit fruit couldn't be refined into an accordance heavenly pill, it had a slight chance of helping people advance to the heaven-seated realm. The heaven-mending beginning essence pill was a grade 9 Starry Sky medicinal pill. Taking this medicinal pill could not only speed up the cultivator's absorption of Starry Sky spirit chi, but it could also make up for the lack of Dao charm in one's cultivation. This way, one's cultivation speed wouldn't become too fast, which would cause one's foundation to become unstable. As soon as Duan Gantai came out, he unlocked the seal on the connecting spirit silk. He was eager to find Ning Qing. Firstly, he wanted to see how long Ning Qing could last in front of him. Secondly, he naturally wanted to ask Ning Qing for the keys to the Temple of Time. Even if he knew that Ning Qing couldn't enter the Temple of Time, he didn't feel at ease leaving all 3 keys on Ning Qing. Ji Luofei frowned and clenched her fists. She naturally understood that mission number 36 was the mission to kill Yan Ji. This made Ning Qing very anxious. If he couldn't open the Temple of Time's door, wouldn't he end up locked inside? Moreover, Ning Qing also understood that the higher his cultivation grew, the more difficult it would be for him to advance. Even with the help of the mysterious yellow bead, his cultivation time was also growing longer and longer. Without the Temple of Time, he didn't know how many decades it would take for him to advance from the early stage Eternal Realm to the middle stage Eternal Realm. Our team needs 4 people. Now we have 3. Is there anyone else who wants to join our team, as long as you're at least in the undead realm? I'll be honest, I know a bit about Yen Ji's location, so I won't miss it. The cultivator who first called for a team to go to the Thorn-Tooth Lake for mission number 36 turned even more excited after hearing the update of mission number 36. The only regret he had in the Guardian Temple was that he couldn't find the medicinal pill to advance to the Eternal Realm. When the cultivator saw the celestial wheels behind Ji Luofei, he immediately understood that Ji Luofei should be a late-stage undead or even an early-stage Heaven's Mandate expert. Okay, I'll take this junior apprentice sister. We have enough people. Let's go now. Ning Qing held back his doubts and walked out of the Temple of Time's gate. He then found that the Temple of Time's gate, which he had just blasted open, had once again condensed and looked exactly the same as before. He still had a guardian gate in the Guardian Temple that he had yet to open. But it didn't matter. After he advanced to the Eternal Realm, he would come back to open the Guardian Gate. Now that he came out, his only purpose was to look for opportunities to advance to the Eternal Realm. After he advanced to the Eternal Realm, he would go to the ancient Shadow Temple to look for Striking Order Heavenly Emperor. As long as he could find Striking Order Heavenly Emperor, he could then re-enter the Temple of Time to cultivate. The Accordance Heavenly Pill was a unique treasure that Heaven's Mandate cultivators could use to advance to the Sky-Seated stage. Someone would actually use such a treasure to kill a cultivator who had yet to even reach the Heaven's Mandate stage. Had this person gone mad? Ning Qing finally understood that the Temple of Time's perpetual moon time key could only be used once. Every time he entered, he would need to use the Time Will Spirit technique. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to enter the Temple of Time. Ji Luofei had stayed in Night Essence Celestial River for many years, so she naturally knew about the Thorn-Tooth Lake. Thorn-Tooth Lake was located on the Ranka star, 2 planets away from the radial immortal star. Moreover, the Thorn-Tooth Lake was a famous trial ground in Night Essence Celestial River, second only to the Devouring Bone Sea. After an incense stick worth of time, the 3-colored Dao charm over the Temple of Time's gate grew fainter and fainter. When the 3-colored Dao charm disappeared, the 3 perpetual moon time keys fell to the ground again. Going to the Thorn-Tooth Lake doesn't necessarily mean that I have to do task number 36. Anyway, I have to go there. I might as well take this task. What if I meet that Yen Ji? The Heaven's Mandate cultivator spoke with a smile. But Duan Gantai didn't expect that as soon as he untied the connecting spirit silk, he would sense Ning Cheng's position. Duan Gantai felt happy and didn't hesitate to rush over. After hesitating for a while, Ning Cheng decided to go out first. The first thing he wanted to do after coming out was to look for opportunities to advance to the Eternal Realm. Therefore, he had to make some choices to maximize his benefits. This person was Duan Gantai, who had just come out of the Guardian Temple. Although he had a lot of expectations for the Guardian Temple before entering the Guardian Temple, he never expected that the Guardian Temple would give him such a big surprise. But he never expected that the Guardian Temple would give him such a big surprise. He not only obtained a bunch of Starry Sky spiritual veins in the Guardian Temple but also a bunch of permanent essence pills. But these weren't the most pleasant surprises. What surprised him the most was that he obtained 10 bottles of heaven-mending origin pills. Moreover, they were top-grade heaven-mending origin pills. With another "kacha" sound, the Temple of Time's gate burst open again. A moment later, the Temple of Time's gate, which he had blasted open, once again reformed. What worried Ning Cheng the most was that once he went out, it would be extremely difficult to come back in. Unless he could find Striking Order Heavenly Emperor. But if Striking Order Heavenly Emperor entered the ancient Shadow Temple, he might have already fallen. What worried Ji Luofei even more was that the reward for killing Yen Ji turned out to be a great heaven essence fruit. Ji Luofei had already reached the Heaven's Mandate realm, so how could she not know about the great heaven essence fruit? It was something that could be used to refine the Accordance Heavenly Pill. If the great heaven essence fruit could only drive some cultivators crazy, then adding a starry sky-class battleship, 10,000 perpetual moon pills, and even 100 million purple coins, it made the entire guild seethe with excitement. Ning Qing condensed a law of time Dao charm and blasted it out with a mysterious hand gesture. A grayish-white light will appeared out of thin air, and together with Ning Cheng's hand gesture, it formed a circular light invisible to the naked eye and slammed into the triangular Temple of Time's gate. Looking at the jade under his feet, Ning Qing felt hesitant. With the terrifying amount of resources he consumed for cultivation, only staying in this place could help him make rapid progress. Otherwise, if he casually changed places, his cultivation would slow to a crawl, to the point where he couldn't make any progress at all. Without a thunder tribulation, even if he cultivated for countless years, he would still be stuck in the life and death realm. He had to go out and face the tribulation, or find the starry sky radish grass to refine a furnace of eternal emperor continuance pills. Chapter 776. Just as Duan Gantai was anxious to find Ning Cheng also wanted to find Duan Gantai as soon as possible. It wasn't because he wanted to return the black perpetual moon time key to Duan Gantai. Even if he didn't need it anymore, he wouldn't be so selfless. Ning Cheng had exchanged the none to depend on wine for the perpetual moon time key, so he naturally wouldn't return it to Duan Gantai casually. This was also the reason why Ning Cheng didn't ask Duan Gantai for a few starry sky spiritual veins. He wanted to find Duan Gantai because he wanted to know if Duan Gantai had any means to enter the Temple of Time. Ning Cheng also didn't expect that shortly after he came out of the Temple of Time, he would sense Duan Gantai through the connecting spirit silk. Moreover, Duan Gantai was quickly approaching him. Ning Cheng's current location was not far from Striking Order Starland, so he decided to head towards Striking Order Starland. Walking into Striking Order Starland's lucky heaven city, Ning Cheng felt a little emotional in his heart. He had met Su Binglan twice in Lucky Heaven City. Presumably, he would not be able to meet Su Binglan this time. That woman was so shrewd, she would definitely have already taken Su Yingde away. Although Striking Order Heavenly Emperor had yet to return, Lucky Heaven City remained stable under the management of Striking Order's subordinates. However, this was only within the Striking Order Starland's Lucky Heaven City. As for the other places within the Striking Order Starry Skies, it was a bit chaotic. Striking Celestial Rest Stop was one of the bigger rest stops in Lucky Heaven City. Ning Cheng had just walked into the Striking Celestial Rest Stop when he saw an acquaintance, Striking Order's right-hand man, Aunt Su. Aunt Su's cultivation was not too high, only at the middle stage of heaven-seated realm. However, Ning Cheng was very clear about her status. In Lucky Heaven City, and even in Striking Order Starry Skies, her status was second only to Striking Order Heavenly Emperor. One could say that Striking Order trusted Aunt Su. Striking Order's trust in Aunt Su was even deeper than his trust in Tang Yitong. One had to know that Tang Yitong was the only eternal-level powerhouse in Striking Order Starry Sky apart from Striking Order. It was not strange to see Aunt Su in Lucky Heaven City, but what made Ning Cheng curious was Aunt Su's appearance. Striking Order Heavenly Emperor's most trusted woman was currently bowing behind a middle-aged male cultivator, listening to the arrogant instructions of this middle-aged male cultivator. This middle-aged male cultivator's cultivation was slightly higher than Aunt Su's, at the early stage of the life and death realm. However, Aunt Su was the most trusted subordinate of Striking Order Heavenly Emperor, and even the most powerful person in Lucky Heaven City. When did she become so humble? From now on, this rest stop will be handed over to Chuan Ping to manage. You don't need to ask about it. The middle-aged male cultivator spoke with a flat tone. Yes, Aunt Su replied respectfully. All right, you don't have to stay here. I'll go up myself. The middle-aged man waved his hand and said casually to Aunt Su. Yes, but the great emperor hasn't returned yet. Should we wait for Mount D? Aunt Su said weakly. The middle-aged man gave a cold snort. Striking Order still hasn't returned. Does it mean that the Striking Order Starry Sky is still in a state of chaos? Before Heavenly Emperor Leveled Heart went into seclusion, he passed down an order that we would be in charge of Striking Order Starry Sky from now on. You just have to do what you are supposed to do. As for the matters of Man Luan Emperor Mountain, you don't have to worry about it. Aunt Sue, long time no see. Ning Cheng walked in and interrupted the middle-aged man's words. Regardless of Striking Order's intentions, in general, Striking Order treated him well. Today, he happened to meet someone trying to snatch the Striking Order's Starry Skies Emperor throne. Therefore, he didn't mind helping them out. Ning Cheng also knew that he could only save them for a short while. No one controlled Striking Order's Starry Skies Emperor throne. Aunt Sue felt shocked. What worried her the most was that her acquaintance would greet her at this time. In case she angered the person in front of her, not only would her friend die, but she would also suffer. However, when she looked up and saw Ning Cheng, the worry in her heart disappeared without a trace and was replaced with a look of surprise. "Senior, you. Who are you?" The middle-aged man stared at Ning Cheng and asked in a cold voice. Ning Cheng directly interrupted him, which made him feel very uncomfortable. Ning Cheng rarely showed up in public. As a life and death cultivator who had just come out of seclusion and came from Culmination Starland, he naturally wouldn't know about Ning Cheng. Although he didn't know who Ning Cheng was, Aunt Sue calling Ning Cheng Senior made him forcibly suppress his anger. Aunt Sue had a heaven-seated cultivation, yet she still called the other party Senior. From this, it could be seen that this person also had a life and death cultivation. Ning Cheng looked so young, and the celestial wheels behind him were blurry. Even if he was in the life and death realm, he was just an ordinary life and death cultivator. He definitely wasn't an eternal cultivator. Ha, Brother Ning, it really is a small world. As soon as I learned that Brother Ning was here, I immediately came over. Another laughing voice arrived, similarly ignoring the middle-aged man. As this voice finished, Duan Gantai's ugly face appeared in the reception hall of the rest stop. The middle-aged man's expression turned cold. He was at the early stage life and death realm, and no matter where he went, people would always treat him with respect. This is the striking celestial rest stop, which will soon become the property of my Yu clan. Irrelevant people should leave. Aunt Sue, please ask these two people out. Although the middle-aged man's tone wasn't happy, he didn't shed all pretense of cordiality and even used the word please. After all, Aunt Sue addressed Ning Cheng as senior, and he hadn't figured out Ning Cheng's origin yet. "Where did you come from, caterpillar?" "Fuck off." Duan Gantai slapped out without hesitation. Don't look at him feigning civility with Ning Cheng. That was because he didn't have enough strength to eat Ning Cheng. Once he had enough strength to eat Ning Cheng, he would have already killed Ning Cheng. But now, a mere early-stage life and death cultivator dared to ask him to leave. When the middle-aged man heard Duan Gantai telling him to fuck off, his face immediately turned livid. But before he could do anything, he felt as if he had been soaked in an ice cave. A powerful domain directly bound him, leaving him with no room to resist. The middle-aged man's soul almost flew out. Even when facing Yu Clan's premier expert, the early-stage eternal expert, Yu Chengfei, he didn't feel such a powerful suppression. From this, it showed that this person was even stronger than Yu Clan's clan head, Yu Chengfei. When his Yu clan came to Striking Order Starry Sky, they had already investigated and found that Striking Order Starry Sky's only two eternal-level experts, Striking Order and Tang Yitong, had already fallen. As long as Yu clan didn't touch Striking Order Starry Sky's mysterious yellow celestial river, they could control the entire Striking Order Starry Sky. Although the mysterious yellow celestial river was powerful, from their investigation, they could tell that the master of the mysterious yellow celestial river didn't covet Striking Order Starry Sky at all. Slap. Before the middle-aged man could recover, Duan Gantai's palm landed on the middle-aged man's face. The middle-aged man flew out like a broken kite under Duan Gantai's slap. Along the way, some blood and a few teeth spilled out. After the middle-aged man landed on the street outside the rest stop's door collapsed. Duan Gantai had slapped the middle-aged man away. A little fly, don't affect the mood of Brother Ning and me. Brother Ning, please. I have something to talk to Brother Ning about. After Duan Gantai slapped the middle-aged man away, he casually stretched out his hand towards Ning Cheng, as if this rest stop was his home. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart. Duan Gantai didn't seem to fear him as much as before, and his tone wasn't as polite as before. From this, Ning Cheng understood that this fellow didn't put him in his eyes just because he had advanced to the full circle life and death realm. However, he wasn't in the mood to talk to Duan Gantai. He had just heard the middle-aged man mention the Yu clan, which reminded him of the Yu clan that snatched Cheonghua's 5 elements treasure fall copper coin and forced Cheonghua into samsara. If these two Yu clans were the same, then don't blame him for taking revenge. Brother Duan, please. I still have something to do. After Ning Cheng finished, he walked out of the rest stop. Duan Gantai showed a smile. Brother Ning, you don't have to be in a hurry. While speaking, Duan Gantai's hand grabbed Ning Cheng's shoulder, and a powerful domain came crashing down. Even Aunt Su, who stood next to Ning Cheng, found it difficult to breathe under the influence of this domain and subconsciously took a few steps back. Fortunately, she wasn't within the domain. Otherwise, she wouldn't even be able to take a step back and would have directly become Duan Gantai's lamb. At this moment, Aunt Su felt extremely horrified. What was the origin of this person called Brother Duan by Ning Cheng? How could he be so powerful? Ning Cheng didn't buy Duan Gantai's words. Therefore, when Duan Gantai stretched out his hand and released his domain, Ning Cheng also stretched out his hand. At the same time, his celestial river domain violently swept towards Duan Gantai. If it were something else, he wouldn't have bothered to fight Duan Gantai since he couldn't kill Duan Gantai right now. But since Duan Gantai dared to stop him from asking about the Yu clan, Ning Cheng naturally wouldn't hold back. Ka. Duan Gantai's celestial essence domain was so powerful that even the sound of shattering could be heard clearly. Although Duan Gantai's domain was powerful, Ning Cheng's domain was even more powerful. Although his domain crushed Duan Gantai's domain, it only affected a small part of it. Bang! The moment Duan Gantai's domain shattered, his celestial essence handprint and Ning Cheng's celestial essence handprint also collided. Terrifying spatial suppression blasted over, and Duan Gantai felt a burst of stuffiness. The two hadn't even started probing each other when Duan Gantai knew that he had lost. Even if he advanced to the full circle of life and death realm, he still wasn't Ning Cheng's opponent. Boom! All the seats between the two turned into nothingness under the collision of domains. If the two hadn't controlled the power of their domains and hadn't used their full strength, the entire street would have already turned into nothingness. Duan Gantai stood there with a pale face, but his heart was in turmoil. He knew that he hadn't used his full strength, but he also knew that Ning Cheng hadn't used his full strength. If he didn't advance to the eternal realm, he definitely wouldn't be Ning Cheng's opponent. That was his only conclusion. Brother Ning's cultivation really took another step forward. This little brother really admires you. This little brother's cultivation has improved a bit, and I just wanted to try Brother Ning's domain. I didn't expect this little brother to be a frog in a well and suffer a crushing defeat. Compared to Brother Ning, this little brother's strength is far, far too far. Duan Gantai forcibly suppressed his tumbling blood and respectfully cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng. He even exaggerated the 1-point gap between him and Ning Cheng into a 10-point gap. His attitude made it seem as if he had nothing to do with the person who spoke to Ning Cheng just now. Chapter 777. Ning Cheng replied with a calm voice, "Oh, so that's how it is. I thought you wanted to kill me and take away my things because you've cultivated to the full circle of the life and death realm." Duan Gantai showed an awkward smile and spoke up, I don't dare. Really? I think you're quite daring. Why don't you just throw Yu Ching out? Is there anything in the entire starry sky that you don't dare to do? A cold voice arrived, but it clearly wasn't Ning Cheng's answer. Duan Gantai's expression suddenly sank. He didn't dare to say those words to Ning Cheng, not to a bunch of small fries. As these words fell, 3 cultivators suddenly appeared at the rest stop's entrance, 2 men and 1 woman. Behind these 3 people stood the middle-aged man whom Duan Gantai had slapped away. Although the marks on his face had disappeared, the anger in his eyes couldn't melt away. Ching Chong, who attacked you just now? The thin man on the leftmost side of the rest stop's entrance asked in a cold voice. Without waiting for the middle-aged man who had been slapped by Duan Gantai to answer, Duan Gantai walked up with a smile and spoke, "It was me who slapped him just now. A little caterpillar was chirping away while I was speaking, so I casually swatted it away. Since the few of you came here with such an imposing aura, please show some mercy. Just teach me a little lesson, and I promise not to look for you in the future." Of the three people who came to the door, apart from the female cultivator who was only in the heaven-seated realm, the thin man on the leftmost side was at the early stage eternal realm. The man in the middle had a similar stature to the man on the left, with the same slender figure. However, his golden hair looked very eye-catching. As for his late-stage eternal realm cultivation, Ning Qing didn't put him in his eyes. Ning Qing didn't fear these people, and he also knew that Duan Gantai didn't fear them either. Duan Gantai was a cruel and merciless person. Even if he couldn't fight against these people, as long as these people dared to make a move against him, it would bring him endless disasters. This fellow definitely sought revenge for the slightest grievance. Moreover, Ning Qing felt sure that even if these people joined forces, they wouldn't be able to stop Duan Gantai. Only Ning Qing understood what Duan Gantai meant when he said that he wouldn't look for them. Moreover, this fellow would definitely try to find trouble with these people. Did you just advance to the eternal realm and think that you can trample the entire starry sky under your feet? This emperor is Yu Qingfei, from Culmination Starlands Yu clan. The little caterpillar you just injured is also from my Yu clan. Today, I would like to ask for advice from the expert who casually swatted away my Yu clan's little caterpillar. The thin man on the far left snorted coldly, his tone carrying a hint of murderous intent. He felt that Duan Gantai had not advanced to the eternal realm. However, since Duan Gantai could send Yu Qingchong flying with a slap, it showed that he was not someone in the life and death realm. Duan Gantai laughed, "Yu Qingfei, I gave you face, but you don't want it. I just patted a little caterpillar, yet you're rubbing your nose against me. Your Culmination Yu clan? Sorry, I haven't heard of it. Your words made me unhappy. I shouldn't have patted the little caterpillar." While speaking, Duan Gantai's domain suddenly burst out. A moment later, a white light erupted from his domain. If not for Ning Cheng's eyes, he wouldn't have been able to see this white light clearly. Yu Qingfei didn't expect that Duan Gantai would dare to launch a sneak attack while facing two eternal-level experts. He quickly stretched out his domain and brought out a weapon at the same time. Ning Qing could clearly see that Duan Gantai didn't want to deal with Yu Qingfei or the other two, but Yu Qingchong, whom he had slapped away. Poof! After the white light flashed, Yu Qingfei's domain directly shattered the domain, pressing down on Yu Qingfei and the others. At the same time, Yu Qingchong, who stood on the side, exploded into a bloody mist. Apart from his essence spirit overflowing and hiding behind Yu Qingfei, his corporeal body had almost turned into a pool of blood. Ning Qing secretly became vigilant. He couldn't see what Duan Gantai had used to release that white light. However, he understood what Duan Gantai meant. This fellow had done it for him to see. What he meant was, don't look at this Duan Gantai's domain as inferior to yours. I also have my own means. Don't push me too far. I should have turned this little caterpillar into ashes. Well, although this caterpillar's essence spirit is still here, I finally feel a bit better. Duan Gantai clapped his hands as if he had just done a trivial thing. You're courting death. Yu Qingfei's anger soared to the point that even his hair stood on end. Even so, he didn't immediately start. Instead, he looked at the golden-haired man next to him. Yu Qingfei knew that with Duan Gantai's strength, he could only defeat the other party if no one helped him. He couldn't kill the other party. The golden-haired man standing next to Yu Qingfei didn't expect that Duan Gantai would dare to kill Yu Qingchong under such circumstances. He gave a cold snort, "You're indeed courting death. Are you also from the Yu clan?" Duan Gantai looked at the golden-haired man as if nothing had happened. The golden-haired man stared at Duan Gantai coldly and said, "Remember it well. My name is Eddie, and I'm from Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain. Yu Qingfei is about to become the Starry Sky Heavenly Emperor of Striking Order Starry Sky. You killed Yu Qingchong in Striking Order Starry Sky's Lucky Heaven City. No matter where you come from, you're still courting death." Hearing that the golden-haired man came from Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain, Duan Gantai frowned and didn't continue to speak. From this, one could tell that he felt some fear towards Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain. Without waiting for the golden-haired man to continue, Ning Qing spoke to the golden-haired man in a cold voice, "Scram to where you came from. As for Yu Qingfei, I still have a few questions for you." In Eddie's opinion, Duan Gantai was already crazy enough. But he didn't expect to meet someone even crazier than Duan Gantai. Was this kid crazy? How dare he tell Eddie to scram to where he came from? No matter how much patience Eddie had, he couldn't bear it anymore. His domain erupted violently, and at the same time, he punched out. Eddie's powerful domain erupted over, and Duan Gantai, who stood not far away, had to stretch out his domain to resist. If not for fear of Ning Qing looking down on him, he would have taken a few steps back. Ning Qing not only didn't take half a step back, but also took a step forward. At the same time, he stretched out his domain and punched out. Ning Qing still had some things to ask Duan Gantai, so he had held back against Duan Gantai before. He didn't want to tear apart Duan Gantai's face. But against Eddie, who came from Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain and wanted to snatch Striking Order Starry Sky, Ning Qing naturally wouldn't hold back. This punch, combined with the Celestial River domain, formed a complete space around it. The violent murderous aura wrapped around this space and blasted towards Eddie without any reservation. If not for not wanting Duan Gantai to know his cards, Ning Qing would have already raised his hand and blasted out a time wheel. Boom, kacha. Ning Qing and Eddie's domains collided, turning the previously dilapidated door of the rest stop into nothingness. Eddie's heart trembled violently. His domain did not gain any advantage. Not only that, but the other party's domain continued to grow. Bang! With another violent impact, Eddie felt countless axe shadows and spear shadows blasting into the depths of his sea of consciousness. Even his soul started to feel overwhelmed by the killing intent. Half of Eddie's fighting spirit collapsed in an instant. He felt horrified. Who was Ning Qing? Not only did Ning Cheng's domain not lose out to his, but Ning Cheng's ordinary punch also contained two kinds of killing intents. Not only that, he even felt that Ning Cheng's punch contained spatial bindings. It felt as if he relaxed even a little, he would be swept away by these spatial bindings. Then, the entire space around him exploded under these bindings. A mouthful of blood rushed to Eddie's throat, but Eddie forcibly swallowed it down. After a few breaths, he asked in shock, "Who are you?" This clash of fists made Ning Qing realize that he couldn't kill Eddie. Forcibly calming his tumbling aura, he spoke up in a cold voice, "It's not your turn to ask who this emperor is. Let Chuan Xinlo come. Fuck off. The matters of Striking Order Starry Sky are not something for you, Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain, to meddle in." Hearing Ning Qing address himself as this emperor, and directly call out Chuan Xinlo's name, even if Eddie felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart, he still kept a calm face. Eddie and Ning Cheng's clash, even without using any spirit techniques, felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over Yu Qingfei's heart. He couldn't understand when such two powerhouses came to Striking Order Starry Sky. One was on par with him, while the other didn't even put Eddie in his eyes and even called out Chuan Xinlo's name. Duan Gantai felt even more shocked in his heart. He knew that Ning Cheng was powerful, but he didn't expect Ning Cheng to be this powerful. If he were to exchange blows with Eddie, he would definitely be at a disadvantage and at the same time be at a disadvantage. Eddie stared at Ning Cheng for a while, and a name suddenly popped up in his mind. Mysterious Yellow Sect Master Ning Cheng. Although he had never met Ning Cheng, he had heard about Ning Cheng's fame many times. He had heard that he didn't even fear Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor and had even fought against Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor more than once. A person who had fought against leveled heart Heavenly Emperor several times and still managed to survive. Moreover, he didn't even lose a corner of his territory. One could imagine how powerful this person was even if they used their toes to think. I got it. So you're mysterious yellow celestial rivers sect master Ning. No wonder you're so powerful. Eddie, sorry for being disrespectful. Eddie felt relieved after learning Ning Cheng's identity. He felt afraid of losing to an unknown fellow. Ning Cheng was a person who even leveled heart Heavenly Emperor feared. How could Eddie put him, Eddie, in his eyes? Telling Eddie to fuck off, this kind of thing happened to Ning Cheng, it was not a big deal at all. Ning Cheng, Sect Master Ning. Yu Chengfei felt even more shocked than Eddie. Although he didn't know that Ning Cheng was the Yu clan's enemy, he had long heard of Ning Cheng's fame. Since their Yu clan came to Striking Order Starry Sky, Ning Cheng was the first person they couldn't provoke. But now, before they even moved into Striking Order Starry Sky, they had already provoked Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng ignored the shocked Eddie on the side. He didn't even answer Eddie's words. Instead, his gaze fell on Yu Chengfei. Is your surname Yu? Yu Chengfei quickly stepped forward and cupped his fists. Yes, I'm Yu Chengfei from Culmination Yu Clan. Greetings, Sect Master Ning. He was very self-aware and directly removed the two words, this emperor. Does your Yu clan still want to control Striking Order Starry Sky? Ning Cheng's tone remained calm. Yu Chengfei could tell that Ning Cheng was in a bad mood. Therefore, he spoke up with even more caution. We didn't know that Sect Master Ning was in Striking Order Starry Sky. Otherwise, we would never have offended Sect Master Ning. My Yu clan will immediately withdraw from Striking Order Starry Sky. Ning Cheng was in Lucky Heaven City, and in Yu Chengfei's view, he also wanted to occupy Striking Order Starry Sky. Although his Yu clan had a deep heritage and was the premier talisman clan within the Starry Sky, they still didn't dare to go against Ning Cheng. Aunt Su, who stood behind Ning Cheng, felt her blood boil and looked at Ning Cheng with even more respect. She had accompanied Ning Cheng to the front and back. But now that Ning Cheng arrived, the whole scene completely reversed. The person she had to deal with before, now stood in front of Ning Cheng with a humble tone. Chapter 778. Ning Cheng acted as if he hadn't heard Yu Chengfei's words about giving up on Striking Order Starry Sky. His tone turned even colder. Your Yu clan originally came from Striking Order Starry Sky's Dai Yuan Star, didn't you? Yes, we received an invitation from Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor. Striking Order Heavenly Emperor also knows about it. Seemingly aware that Ning Cheng and Striking Order Heavenly Emperor had a deep friendship, Yu Chengfei spoke with a cautious tone. Ning Cheng's tone remained emotionless. I heard that the Yu clan has a person called Yu Yangji. Where is this person now? Yu Yangji. Yu Chengfei was thinking about the outstanding disciples of the Yu clan. Which one of them was called Yu Yangji? Let this emperor remind you that this Yu Yangji came from a place called Ink Essence Star. He brought with him a 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, which you rewarded to a genius from your Yu clan named Yu Huangfu. Ning Cheng's tone grew colder and colder. Even if Yu Chengfei was an idiot, he knew that this Ning Cheng in front of him had a grudge with the Yu clan. This person must have killed Yu Huangfu in the past. Ning Cheng saw Yu Chengfei's expression and spoke up in a cold voice, you guessed it right. I killed Yu Huangfu. Ink Essence Star's Yu family is your Yu family's lair, right? My wife sent countless talisman refining materials to the Yu clan, just to ask for a talisman. However, the Yu clan repaid kindness with enmity. Under the leadership of Yu Yangji, they killed my wife and stole my wife's 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. Yu Chengfei's body turned cold. He didn't answer Ning Cheng's words at all. Instead, he raised his hand and shot out a ray of light. At the same time, he shouted, Yu clan, leave Culmination Starry Sky immediately. There's a great enemy. Ning Cheng gave an angry snort, as he brought out his long spear. In an instant, the endless killing power around him rolled up, before condensing into a space with a radius of a few feet. Ning Cheng did not immediately kill him because he wanted to know where Yu Yangji was. Yu Chengfei roared and his hands turned into countless hand seals. Each hand seal produced an endless amount of runes. In just a few breaths of time, his surroundings had become a densely packed world of runes. This was his Yu clan's top-notch spirit technique, 10,000 runes splitting God. The long spear in Ning Cheng's hand twisted, and the endless killing power that the long spear brought out turned into one spear intent after another. The spear intent was like a sky full of flames that tore apart Yu Chengfei's 10,000 spirit-splitting talismans, which had yet to fully activate, into pieces. In this instant, killing talismans, trapping talismans, soul-sealing talismans, exploding talismans, thousands upon thousands of talismans that had yet to unleash their power exploded one after another. The radiance between Yu Chengfei and Ning City was like the most dazzling fireworks, illuminating the entire Lucky Heaven City with a myriad of colors. Amidst the explosion, a terrifying aura filled the entire space. At that moment, everyone understood what Yu Chengfei was trying to do and retreated. Aunt Sue's face turned pale. She knew that after Yu Chengfei blew himself up, Lucky Heaven City would suffer countless casualties. The entire city might even collapse. An eternal cultivator self-destructing, even if it was a cultivator at the early stage eternal realm, was not something a city could withstand. Yu Chengchong, who was only in his essence spirit state, trembled. He had just come out of seclusion, so when had he ever seen such a scene? The Yu clan's patriarch had not even started fighting when he decided to blow himself up. What kind of person did his Yu family provoke? At this moment, where was the slightest bit of his previous condescending might? The death aura from Yu Chengfei's self-destruction rushed over, but he didn't retreat. Instead, he rushed into the explosion. No matter what, it would only end in death. He might as well die a quick death. Yu Chengfei's face filled with hatred. He had just advanced to the eternal realm, yet someone had forced him to blow himself up. He hated Ning Cheng's strength. He hated Yu Yangji. An ant from a low-level interface had brought such a powerful enemy to the Yu clan. He hated the fact that the Yu clan had just risen up, only to be blasted into the abyss again. No one could understand the unwillingness in his heart. Advancing to the eternal realm was secondary. One had to know that he was about to become the premier talisman emperor within the starry skies. As long as he had enough time, it wouldn't be impossible for him to become a Dao talisman master. However, none of this mattered to him. His Yu clan had offended someone they shouldn't have offended. Ning Cheng didn't expect Yu Chengfei to act so decisively and blow himself up. He didn't retreat. In any case, he couldn't let Yu Chengfei blow up Lucky Heaven City. The next moment, Ning Cheng brought out the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort and took a step forward. The everlasting Blue Thunder Fort turned into a floating city surrounded by thunder and lightning and slammed into Yu Chengfei's head. Boom boom boom. Endless celestial essence explosions rang out of nowhere. These celestial essence explosions and the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort's thunder and lightning blasted into each other. The thunder and lightning intertwined and shook the sky. After a dozen breaths, the rumbling sounds disappeared completely. The everlasting Blue Thunder Fort still hovered over Lucky Heaven City, but Yu Chengfei's shadow couldn't be seen anymore. Apart from the place where Yu Chengfei blew himself up, there was a huge gully in the ground. The entire Lucky Heaven City didn't suffer any damage. Duan Gantai, who stood not far away, felt even more fearful. He felt sure that Ning Cheng hadn't even used 1/10 of his means. Even so, Ning Cheng was already this powerful. Once Ning Cheng fully used his means, how powerful would he become? After a while, his eyes filled with determination. No matter how powerful Ning Cheng was, he didn't fear him. If he gave everything to Ning Cheng, Duan Gantai, in the future, who would be his opponent within the entire starry skies? Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor. Let's just go somewhere cool. Leveled Heart Emperor Mountains AID also remained silent. Ning Cheng was more powerful than he thought. He had heard about the scene of Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor fighting Ning Cheng after reaching Dao Confirming Realm. It should be said that Ning Cheng barely managed to withstand a move from Leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor. But now, Ning Cheng's strength didn't seem to be enough to withstand a move from leveled Heart Heavenly Emperor. Ning Cheng put away the everlasting Blue Thunder Fort and stared coldly at the female cultivator standing next to Yu Qingfei. You're also from Yu clan. The female cultivator only had a heaven-seated cultivation. So when she heard Ning Cheng's words, she subconsciously shuddered and quickly replied, this junior is not from Yu clan. This junior is Suo Zihui from Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky. This time, I came to Grand Culmination Starry Sky to take care of some matters. Because of Senior AID's invitation, this junior also sent out a few Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's auction invitations. If Senior has time, you can also come to my Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's auction. This Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's auction was personally directed by Sir Yitsong. Therefore, countless starry sky treasures will appear in it. Ning Qing didn't know anything about Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce. But Aunt Su, who stood behind Ning Cheng, quickly sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng. Senior, Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce is the premier chamber of commerce in Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky. It was founded by Yi Tsang and Zheng Tajiang, the deputy head. Yi Tsang is a late-stage eternal expert, and Zheng Tajiang, the deputy head, is also a middle-stage eternal expert. Compared to our Striking Order Chamber of Commerce, Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce is much bigger. Ning Qing nodded and asked Suo Zihui, what are the main starry sky treasures in this auction? Suo Zihui bowed and replied, there are spirit artifacts, Brahma Sea Netherworld Silk, Single Essence Heavy Water, Starry Sky Radish Grass, Heaven Mending Beginning Origin Pill. At first, Ning Qing only asked casually. But as Suo Zihui spoke, he felt more and more shocked. He had never heard of an auction with so many good things. Could this even be called an auction? As for the Single Essence Heavy Water, Ning Qing knew that Devil Domain Grand Starry Skies Qiao Jierui had obtained it from the ancient Shadow Temple. Ning Qing never expected that he would bring it to this auction. What shocked him even more was that the Starry Sky Radish Grass he had been looking for all this time would appear in an auction. If he didn't go to this auction, he would only be able to watch the opportunity slip away. Not only did Ning Qing feel shocked, but Eddie also felt shocked. He had invited Suo Zihui because he and Sang Yi were good friends. He hadn't asked Suo Zihui about the good things in this auction. Previously, he and Ning Cheng had the same thoughts. An auction, no matter how many good things there were, wouldn't be much. If he had known that this auction would have so many good things, he would have already thought of going there. Even Duan Gantai, who had seen too many treasures, felt shocked. He clenched his fists and secretly vowed to go to the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky to participate in this auction. Starry Sky Radish Grass, wasn't this something he urgently needed? I want to go to the Ash Pagoda auction. I wonder if I can get an invitation. Ning Qing asked with cupped fists. Suo Zihui quickly replied, it would be an honor for my Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce if Senior wants to go to the auction. If it weren't for Senior asking, this junior wouldn't have dared to reveal some of the treasures in the auction. It's just that this junior's authority is limited, and all the invitations I received have already been sent away. There are still a few entry jade cards here, but they are the most ordinary ones. When this junior returns to the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky, I will definitely get the best invitation for Senior. Ning Qing waved his hand, no need, just give me an ordinary entry jade card. With his strength, he didn't need to hide in private booths to bid. Even if he hid in a private booth, if he won something good, the auction house would still know that it was him. Suo Zihui took out an ordinary jade card with both hands and handed it to Ning Cheng. This is an ordinary entry jade card for the auction. Senior, please accept it. Ning Cheng put away the jade card and said, many thanks, Fairy Zihui. If Fairy Zihui needs any help in the Grand Culmination Starry Sky, you can come directly to my stately River Star to find this Ning Cheng. Many thanks, Sect Master Ning. Suo Zihui bowed again in surprise. She didn't expect Ning Cheng to be so easy to talk to. She just took out an ordinary entry jade card. Although Ning Cheng didn't leave anything for her, with Ning Cheng's words, she would have unimpeded access to the Grand Culmination Starry Sky. Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain had Senior AID, while Ning Cheng had Senior Ning in other places. Who would dare to be rude to her? Changing to Sect Master Ning, she also wanted to get closer to Ning Cheng. Duan Gantai smiled and also stepped forward. I'm also very interested in your auction. I wonder if you can give me an entry jade card? Suo Zihue, on seeing Duan Gantai standing together with Ning Cheng and seeing him slap away an early-stage life and death cultivator, naturally didn't dare to neglect it. She quickly took out an entrance jade card and gave it to Duan Gantai. Suo Zihue was invited by AID. Therefore, after receiving Suo Zihue's entry jade card, Ning Cheng's attitude towards AID eased a bit. Brother AI, go back and tell Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain that you don't have to trouble Leveled Heart Emperor Mountain with striking order Starry Skies matters. Although Ning Cheng didn't directly say that striking order Starry Sky would have nothing to do with the grand culmination Starry Sky in the future, his words had the same meaning. In other words, this place has nothing to do with you, Chuan Xinlo. Don't come here in the future. Chapter 779. Eddie cupped his fists and said without any expression, I will definitely bring Sect Master Ning's words. Goodbye. With that, Eddie turned around and left. Suo Zihue quickly cupped her fists towards Ning Cheng and the others before quickly leaving with Eddie. Many thanks, Sect Master Ning. After Eddie left, Aunt Su came to Ning Cheng and thanked him with a bow. If not for Ning Cheng, it would have been a trivial matter for her to be bossed around. What mattered was that someone would forcibly open Striking Order Emperor Mountain. Whether Striking Order Heavenly Emperor came back or not, once that happened, she would feel sorry for Striking Order Heavenly Emperor. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. Brother Striking Order and I felt like old friends at first sight. These are all things that I should do. Now, I have something to do with Brother Duan. You can go ahead. After saying that, Ning Cheng looked at Duan Gantai with a smile. Brother Duan, long time no see. This time, we must have a good chat. Please. Duan Gantai, who had previously forced Ning Cheng to speak, suddenly changed his tone. Falling behind Ning Cheng, he stretched out his hand and said, Of course, Brother Ning can go first. This little brother can just follow behind. Aunt Su immediately retreated. Ning Cheng had driven away the Yu clan's people, and she indeed had a lot of things to do. As long as she spoke about Ning Cheng's words today, no one would dare to covet Striking Order Starry Sky again. With Striking Order Heavenly Emperor gone, her task was to stabilize Striking Order Starry Sky. At the very least, she had to stabilize Striking Order Starry Sky. However, before leaving the Striking Celestial Rest Stop, she had to tell people to serve Ning Cheng well. Even without Aunt Su's instructions, the Striking Celestial Rest Stop did not dare to neglect Ning Cheng. The Rest Stop's shopkeeper had already invited the two to the best box in the Striking Celestial Rest Stop. I wonder what Brother Duan wants from me. I just arrived at Lucky Heaven City, and Brother Duan arrived at the same time. What a coincidence. Ning Cheng sat down and spoke with a smile. Duan Gantai despised Ning Cheng in his heart. If you didn't look for me, would I have found you? However, he still smiled and said, I've been in seclusion recently, and as soon as I came out, I sensed Brother Ning's presence. It's been a long time since I last saw Brother Ning, and I missed you a lot. Therefore, I specifically came to see Brother Ning and take back my perpetual moontime key. Ning Cheng frowned. He asked in doubt, Brother Duan, did you leave your perpetual moontime key in Lucky Heaven City? Duan Gantai laughed twice. Brother Ning must be joking. I put the perpetual moontime key on Brother Ning as collateral last time. Don't tell me Brother Ning doesn't remember. Oh, Brother Duan is talking about this matter? Of course I remember. However, I'm afraid that Brother Duan made a mistake just now. I used the best quality none to depend on wine to exchange for the perpetual moontime key. How could Brother Duan say that it's yours? Duan Gantai naturally wouldn't choke on Ning Cheng's words. He patted his head and said, Oh, look at how unclear my words are. It's better to take out the crystal ball. While talking, Duan Gantai took out a crystal ball. The crystal ball activated and clearly displayed Duan Gantai's words. In order to make Brother Ning believe me, I also put the third key to the Temple of Time on Brother Ning. After playing the crystal ball's record, Duan Gantai smiled. Brother Ning, I said to put it on Brother Ning, not to give it to Brother Ning. I'm often the same as Brother Ning. Sometimes, I accidentally remember things wrong. Ning Qing spoke up. Brother Duan, why doesn't the previous words in the crystal ball? It seems to be missing. I remember that I gave the real none to depend on wine to Brother Duan. Does Brother Duan want to renege on it? Duan Gantai looked at the crystal ball and spoke up in amazement. Oh, it really is the case. Alas, my cultivation is getting worse and worse. I can't even record a crystal ball properly. After saying that, Duan Gantai patted the crystal ball a few more times. The crystal ball seemed to have a bad circuit connection. After Duan Gantai patted it a few more times, another record appeared. Duan Gantai spoke up from the crystal ball. 3 pots of none to depend on wine is better than nothing. Many thanks, Brother Ning, for giving it to me for free. Ning Qing followed up. Well said, well said. It's just a small matter. After Duan Gantai finished playing the crystal ball, he put it away and patted his head. Oh, it turns out that Brother Ning gave me the none to depend on wine for free. I will always remember it. Of course, if Brother Ning feels that the idea at the time was inappropriate, I will listen to Brother Ning and try my best to get the none to depend on wine back to Brother Ning. Ning Qing sneered in his heart. These 2 sentences were obviously not the contents of a single transaction. This fellow was truly insidious. He felt sure that Duan Gantai had also recorded his conversation with Duan Gantai in the crystal ball. As long as he went back on his word, this crystal ball would definitely leak out in the future. Even if he wasn't afraid of it, his reputation would be ruined. Oh, I gave Brother Duan the none to depend on wine. Ning Qing spoke up in surprise. Duan Gantai nodded cautiously and said, yes, I really appreciate Brother Ning's gift. I really appreciate it. Since Brother Duan is so grateful, then the none to depend on wine I gave to Brother Duan must be a good thing. Is it a real wine? Ning Qing asked with a smile. Duan Gantai felt that this sentence was a bit inappropriate. He had already thanked Ning Qing before, so he could only say, yes, the none to depend on wine that Brother Ning gave me is a good thing. It's a real wine. Ning Qing chuckled and said, so that's how it is. It's just that Brother Duan's recording skills in the crystal ball are really poor. Fortunately, I also have a crystal ball. Brother Duan, please take a look. After saying that, Ning Qing raised his hand and brought out a crystal ball. The crystal ball clearly recorded Duan Gantai's words. Brother Ning, if you have the real none to depend on wine, even if you give me a pot. Brother Ning can also choose what I have on me. Brother Ning, I will definitely give you a Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein. Although I don't have it now, after I bring the none to depend on wine to my friend, I can get the Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein. The crystal ball also had some missing parts, but it recorded Duan Gantai's various promises. As long as he obtained Ning Cheng's none to depend on wine, he would make these promises. After Duan Gantai read Ning Cheng's crystal ball, he patted his head again and said, oh, I was wondering why the things I recorded were missing. It turns out to be like this. I will immediately give Brother Ning half of the Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein. How can I let Brother Ning suffer a loss? Ning Qing immediately stopped Duan Gantai's actions. Brother Duan, you said half of the Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein, but I don't seem to have agreed to it. Duan Gantai secretly cursed in his heart. In order to obtain the none to depend on wine, he didn't care about any conditions. He also knew that it didn't make any sense to take out the crystal ball again. Since he could take it out, Ning Qing could also take it out. As Ning Qing said, Ning Qing never agreed to the half of the Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein he proposed. Sure enough, this fellow premeditated it and knew that he would come back to beg him. Ning Qing also knew that Duan Gantai would come back to beg him. Moreover, Duan Gantai had decisively left behind the perpetual moon time key and took away the none to depend on wine. From this, Ning Qing understood that the things he wanted were no worse than the Temple of Time. Otherwise, with Duan Gantai's character, how could he do such a thing? Because of this, Ning Qing didn't mention the specific number of things he wanted. He wasn't afraid that Duan Gantai would go back on his word. What he didn't expect was that Duan Gantai, like him, had a crystal ball record. Moreover, Duan Gantai was even more insidious than him. Duan Gantai even mixed up the things from the two transactions. Brother Ning, let's not beat around the bush. Do you want an entire Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein? Duan Gantai couldn't deceive Ning Qing, so he decided to speak directly. He was in a hurry to go to the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky to buy the Starry Sky Radish Grass. 1. Ha, Brother Duan, I've always treated you with sincerity. But when I thought about it, I felt that something was wrong. When Brother Duan asked me to go to the Temple of Time, I was in high spirits. Later, when Brother Duan took away my none to depend on wine, I realized that Brother Duan was just playing with me. There's nothing more to say between me and Brother Duan. From today onwards, the two of us will part ways. After saying that, Ning Qing stood up directly. Duan Gantai quickly put on a smile and said, Brother Ning, I've always wanted to be friends with Brother Ning. How could I play with Brother Ning? Brother Ning, you misunderstood. How could he let Ning Qing go? If Ning Qing left, what about the Temple of Time? He had obtained so many things in the ancient Shadow Temple. Moreover, the things in the Temple of Time would definitely not be any less than the ancient Shadow Temple. If he gave such an opportunity to Ning Qing and ended up missing it, he would never forgive himself. Brother Ning snorted, well, in that case, I'll tell you about it. You asked me to go to the Temple of Time, but why did you tell me that the Temple of Time couldn't open? I trusted you too much at that time and didn't care about it. But now that I think about it, it feels wrong. Duan Gantai cursed in his heart. Did you trust me too much at that time? Did you want the third perpetual moon time key so badly that you didn't even think about it? He didn't dare to say such a thing. Instead, he put on a smile and said, Brother Ning, please sit down. Please forgive me for being confused for a moment. It's because I have a way to enter the Temple of Time that I came up with this plan. Brother Ning, you can rest assured that the perpetual moon time key belongs to both of us. I will definitely share the way to enter the Temple of Time. Ning Qing felt ecstatic. He didn't expect Duan Gantai to have a way to enter the Time Wilderness. He just wanted to try his luck before, and it really worked. Ning Qing sat down and said, Brother Duan, you're wrong. You should say that the way to enter the Temple of Time is yours. However, the perpetual moon time key doesn't belong to the two of us, but to me alone. I heard that Striking Order Heavenly Emperor has a way to enter the Temple of Time. Therefore, I came here this time to see if Striking Order has returned. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Duan Gantai felt anxious. He feared that Ning Cheng had obtained the Transfer Jade Talisman to enter the Temple of Time. Ning Cheng had 3 keys to the Temple of Time. If he also obtained the Transfer Array Jade Talisman, he wouldn't even be able to drink the soup. Brother Ning, if you don't believe me, I'm willing to put the Jade Talisman to enter the Temple of Time on you. Of course, you have to put one of the perpetual moon time keys on me. Duan Gantai said with a straight face. Previously, he was anxious about the Guardian Temple, so he had no choice but to take out the perpetual moon time key and give it to Ning Cheng. Now that he had obtained 90% of the things in the Guardian Temple, he naturally had to find a way to take back the perpetual moon time key. It was better to be safe than sorry. What if Striking Order Heavenly Emperor returned? Chapter 780. Ning Qing suppressed the surprise in his heart and did not directly agree to Duan Gantai's proposal to exchange the perpetual moon keys. Instead, he still spoke up, Brother Duan, I'll use my none to depend on to exchange for the Transfer Jade Talisman. Duan Gantai replied with a dry voice, Brother Ning must be joking. How could he leave the Transfer Jade Talisman and the 3 perpetual moon time keys on Ning Cheng? Wouldn't that be inviting a wolf into the house? Knowing that he couldn't take the none to depend on wine for free, Duan Gantai gritted his teeth and said, Brother Ning, I'll give you 2 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins in exchange for the none to depend on wine that Brother Ning gave me. Ning Cheng's tone turned cold. Starry Sky Essence Chi spiritual veins are good, but there are many of them within the starry skies. But I only have a single pot of none to depend on wine. Does Brother Duan think that a unique item is cheaper? How much does Brother Ning want? Duan Gantai gritted his teeth and asked. If you have 20 Starry Sky spiritual veins, I can consider the exchange. Ning Qing knew that this person was asking for a lot. Wasn't business all about asking for sky-high prices and returning the money on the spot? On Earth, tens of thousands of bottles of wine could be bought for a few hundred yuan. It was just a matter of packaging. He had experienced this himself. In the market, clothes were priced at more than $1,000, but in the end, they were haggling and could be bought for 1/10 of the price. Now that Duan Gantai proposed 2 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins, he would multiply it by 10 times. At most, they would just bargain again. Duan Gantai took in a deep breath. He never thought that Ning Cheng would ask for such an exorbitant price. Although he still had about 100 Starry Sky Essence Chi spiritual veins on him, he had saved them for cultivation in the Eternal Realm. How could they take out 20 of them just because of Ning Cheng's casual words? Brother Ning, I don't have that many. At most, I can give you 3 Starry Sky Essence Chi spiritual veins. If Brother Ning wants me to exchange something that I can't take out, then I can only refuse the transaction. Duan Gantai spoke with a decisive tone. When it came to bargaining in business, Duan Gantai and Ning Cheng couldn't even hold a candle to each other. If Duan Gantai insisted on 2 Starry Sky Essence Chi spiritual veins, Ning Cheng might really lower the price a bit. Not only did this guy not insist, he even added another condition. Even a fool knew that Duan Gantai had at least 10 Starry Sky Essence Chi spirit veins on him. Otherwise, with Duan Gantai's temperament, it would have been impossible for him to take out 3 of them. Ning Cheng once again stood up and spoke, since you are not willing to exchange, then forget it. Besides, I do not intend to exchange anything. I don't believe that I can't find Striking Order Heavenly Emperor. Striking Order is my friend. No matter what, I will save him. While speaking, Ning Cheng clapped his hands and sealed the connecting spirit silk in front of Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai felt anxious in his heart. He didn't think that Ning Cheng wouldn't have any leeway. Therefore, he stood up and said, Brother Ning, I'll tell you the truth. I only have a total of 10 Starry Sky Essence Chi spirit veins. Even if I gave you 3 of them, I would still have to grit my teeth. Does Brother Ning want me to go bankrupt? 20 Starry Sky Essence Chi spiritual veins, not negotiable. In addition, you will have to give me the Jade Talisman to enter the Time Wilderness. Ning Cheng spoke with absolute certainty. Even if someone told him the truth, he couldn't trust Duan Gantai. Duan Gantai hesitated for a full half an incense stick worth of time before gritting his teeth and speaking, okay, 20 is 20. I'll give you my friend's 10 Starry Sky Essence Chi spirit veins. It's fine if you want the teleportation Jade Talisman, but you can't take the spirit vein. Ning Cheng's heart sank. He didn't feel even the slightest bit surprised that Duan Gantai agreed to his conditions. He understood that he had fallen into a trap. Duan Gantai definitely had more than 50 spiritual veins. Based on his understanding of Duan Gantai had less than 50 Starry Sky spiritual veins. Therefore, he would never make a promise to exchange 20 Starry Sky Essence Chi spirit veins. Where did Duan Gantai get so many Starry Sky Essence Chi spiritual veins? Could it be that this fellow had found a secret realm where a powerful being stored the spirit vein? Seeing Ning Cheng not speaking, Duan Gantai spoke up again, Brother Ning, choose one. Spiritual veins or jade talismans? If Brother Ning insists on having both of them, then forgive me for not accompanying you. At this point, Duan Gantai also ran out of patience. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath. He originally wanted the jade talisman. The jade platform in the Temple of Time was much better than 20 spiritual veins. However, after thinking about it, he still felt that he should choose the spiritual veins. He could use the other 2 keys to exchange for the jade talisman with Duan Gantai in the future. Moreover, as long as he advanced to the Eternal Realm, he might be able to find Striking Order Heavenly Emperor in the ancient Shadow Temple. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng took out a black Perpetual Moon Time key and said, "In that case, let's exchange it for 20 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins." Duan Gantai secretly felt disappointed. In fact, he wanted to exchange the teleportation jade talisman with Ning Cheng. He already had 2 teleportation jade talismans to enter the time wilderness. Even if he gave one to Ning Cheng, he wouldn't lose anything. The 2 quickly finished the exchange. Ning Cheng gained 20 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins, while Duan Gantai took back his Perpetual Moon Time key. Only Duan Gantai knew that he made a big profit. He used the Perpetual Moon Time key as collateral to exchange for the None to Depend on wine. Through the None to Depend on wine, he obtained countless cultivation resources and even comprehended the None to Depend on spirit technique. As for the 20 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins given to Ning Cheng, it wasn't even 1/10 of the resources in the Guardian Temple. Seeing Duan Gantai about to leave, Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up, "Brother Duan, how about I exchange another key with Brother Duan for 20 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins?" Duan Gantai showed a smile and walked to the door of the room before turning around and saying, "Since I can be friends with Brother Ning, I naturally have no problems with my intelligence. I believe that Brother Ning also has no problems with your intelligence. If Brother Ning is willing to take out 2 keys to exchange with me, then I'm willing to consider it." For Duan Gantai, having 1 key to the Temple of Time or 2 keys to the Temple of Time made no difference. As long as he didn't have 3 keys to the Temple of Time, he would have to cooperate with Ning Cheng. Similarly, if Ning Cheng didn't have 3 keys to the Temple of Time, he would have to cooperate with him. This fellow really did have a lot of Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins. At this moment, Ning Cheng felt an impulse to take out 2 keys to the Temple of Time and exchange it with Duan Gantai for 40 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins and Duan Gantai's Jade Talisman. If that was the case, then he would have made a huge profit. However, Ning Cheng didn't lose his rationality. With Duan Gantai's scheming nature, giving away the Temple of Time to the other party would definitely arouse Duan Gantai's suspicions. Watching Duan Gantai leave, Ning Cheng didn't feel too happy in his heart. Duan Gantai had reached the full circle of life and death realm, and this time, he went to the auction for the Starry Sky Radish Grass. This fellow was much richer than him, and he couldn't compete with this fellow at all. After a while, Ning Cheng muttered to himself, "You don't want my second key, but I'll give it to you." The largest planet in Night Essence Celestial River wasn't the main star, Thousand Cry Star, but Orchid Restraining Star. Orchid Restraining Star was not only the largest planet in Night Essence Celestial River but also the largest planet in the entire 9 Jewels Starry Sky. Even within Grand Culmination Starry Sky, one couldn't find 3 planets larger than Orchid Restraining Star. Although Orchid Restraining Star was huge, there weren't many cultivators living on Orchid Restraining Star. Compared to the entire Night Essence Celestial River, it was relatively small. Orchid Restraining Star not only had a much higher gravity compared to other planets, but the Starry Sky Spirit Chi here was also extremely thin. The reason why Orchid Restraining Star became famous was that it had a famous trial grounds called Thorntooth Lake. Rather than a lake, Thorntooth Lake was more like a swamp. However, this swamp was a bit different from other places. Many places in it were filled with water. Therefore, Thorntooth Lake also had another name, Thorntooth Swamp. Thorntooth Lake occupied nearly 2/3 of Orchid Restraining Star's area. But unlike the Devouring Bone Sea, Orchid Restraining Star could be inhabited normally. The only drawback was the lack of Starry Sky Spirit Chi and the high gravity. Thorntooth Lake looked ordinary on the surface, but after entering Thorntooth Lake, one would find many places surrounded by natural array formations. Some places were shrouded in thick fog, and even heaven-seated cultivators could only see within a certain range with their spiritual consciousness. For many people, Orchid Restraining Star's Starry Sky spirit chi seemed to have concentrated in Thorntooth Lake. Therefore, Thorntooth Lake had become a good trial ground for ordinary cultivators in Night Essence Celestial River. In addition to many heavenly treasures, it also contained some high-value demonic beasts. If one was lucky, one could even find 1 or 2 spirit springs in Thorntooth Lake and stay here for secluded cultivation. At this time, in a small mound in the depths of Thorntooth Lake, a black-robed woman curled up. Her aura was very unstable, indicating that she had suffered serious injuries. Even the wounds on her body hadn't healed. Outside this mound, there was a low-grade concealment array disc. This array disc concealed all traces of her aura. Otherwise, people might have found her a long time ago. Among the cultivators who came to Thorntooth Lake during this period, 6 out of 10 people knew this female cultivator. Because she was called Yen-ji, a person wanted by many guilds in Night Essence Celestial River. Yen-ji naturally knew that many people were looking for her because she killed a woman named Shangguan Man-er. In fact, she only learned about Shangguan Man-er's identity after killing Shangguan Man-er. Shangguan Man-er was the beloved daughter of Night Essence Celestial River King Shangguan Xiang, and Shangguan Xiang doted on her. Now that Shangguan Xiang's daughter died, it would be strange if he let go of the murderer. Yen-ji hadn't been in Nine Jewels' Starry Sky for a day or two, so she naturally knew about Shangguan Xiang's strength. Shangguan Xiang was a late-stage life and death cultivator and one of the most powerful celestial river kings in Nine Jewels' Starry Sky. Not only that, but Shangguan Xiang was also Shangguan Fei's younger brother. And Nine Jewels' Starry Sky's eternal Starry Sky Emperor was none other than Shangguan Fei. After learning about this, Yen-ji knew that she would die without a doubt. She fled to the depths of Thorntooth Lake, but even so, it only saved her life temporarily. Who could save Yen-ji after offending a Starry Sky Emperor? In fact, Yen-ji's guess was right. If Shangguan Xiang wasn't in Night Essence Celestial River, Shangguan Xiang would have come to Thorntooth Lake to look for Yen-ji in person. Taking out a Starry Sky spirit grass and swallowing it, Yen-ji forced herself to circulate qi to heal. Since entering the Starry Sky, she had put in 10 times or even 100 times more effort than ordinary people. She really didn't want to die like this. But even if she had to do it all over again, she would still kill that perverted Shangguan Man-er. Chapter 781. As more and more cultivators passed by the mound, Yen-ji knew that she couldn't stay here any longer. If she continued to stay here, she would be discovered sooner or later. After taking out a simple appearance-changing mask and putting it on, Yen-ji carefully took away the concealment array disc. She knew that the grade of her concealment mask was too low, and people with higher cultivation would definitely be able to recognize it. Yen-ji had just taken away the concealment array disc and hadn't even brought out a flight-type weapon when a black light suddenly shot towards her. Yen-ji had always been on the move, so she was extremely vigilant, not to mention that she was currently a wanted fugitive. The moment the black light shot towards Yen-ji immediately sensed it and immediately brought out a defensive shield. Bang! The black light slammed into Yen-ji's defensive shield, and the powerful celestial essence backlash caused Yen-ji, who was already seriously injured, to spit out another mouthful of blood. Yen-ji's vigilance and quick actions allowed her to temporarily escape the attack. At this moment, she finally saw who the person who attacked her was. It was a male cultivator in the late-stage undead realm. "Hee, I already guessed that you would be around here. Looks like I, Si Long, have a great opportunity." As the male cultivator spoke, he raised his hands, and a large net with a radius of several feet came crashing down. This large net completely locked the surrounding space. If Yen-ji hadn't suffered any injuries, she might have been able to escape from this weapon's encirclement. It's just that Yen-ji suffered serious injuries, which made it extremely difficult for her to escape from this large net. Yen-ji knew that if she couldn't escape from this large net, she might as well die. If this person caught her, she definitely wouldn't end up well. However, Yen-ji quickly fell into despair. She grabbed her weapon, the Thousand Mountains diagram, but she couldn't bring out the Thousand Mountains diagram. Her spiritual consciousness and celestial essence had consumed too much, and her injuries were also too severe. Seeing that the large net was about to cover her completely, Yen-ji raised her hand to pat her glabella. At this moment, the male cultivator attacking Yen-ji suddenly let out a shrill scream. His body fell from the sky and landed in the middle of the swamp, causing a series of bubbles to appear. The large net, which had lost control, suddenly lost its imposing aura and also lost the space-locking pressure. Yen-ji easily avoided the falling net. The net instantly shrank and fell in front of Yen-ji. A female cultivator wearing a gray robe appeared in front of Yen-ji. She raised her hand and grasped it. An ordinary-looking bamboo arrow carrying a ring flew out of the swamp and fell into her palm. She then put it away. Only at this moment did Yen-ji realize that this gray-robed woman had used an arrow to kill the male cultivator who wanted to capture her. Although she did not know the purpose of this gray-robed woman, she still spoke up, "Many thanks for saving me." At this moment, a few more flight-type weapons flew over from a distance, and the gray-robed woman suddenly spoke up to Yen-ji, "If you continue to stay in the Thorn-Tooth Lake, you will die. Plus, Orchid Counter-Star is also locked down. There's no way to get out. You know who I am." Yen-ji stared at the female cultivator in front of her in confusion. If she knew who she was, then why would she help her? He should be the first to capture her and exchange her for the reward, right? Although Yen-ji did not know how much the reward for capturing her would be, but she was sure that it would not be too low. How could the wealth of a celestial river king be simple? Compared to the wealth of a celestial river king, her life might not even be worth mentioning. The gray-robed woman nodded, "I know, and I'm the only one here who can save you. There is a place in the Thorn-Tooth Lake that even Shengguan-xiang, who has a grudge against you, can't find." "How do you know that I have a grudge against Shengguan-xiang?" Yen-ji stared at the gray-robed woman in front of her with even more vigilance. She believed that even if Shengguan-xiang wanted to capture her, he would not say that Shengguan-xiang wanted to capture her. The gray-robed woman spoke up calmly, "Because I've been cultivating in the Thorn-Tooth Lake. I saw you kill Shengguan man, I'm just giving you a suggestion. If you don't want to come with me, then I'll leave first." Yen-ji remained silent for a moment before nodding and saying, "Okay, I'll go with you." She knew that even if she didn't go with this gray-robed woman, she could not escape. If the other party wanted to kill her, there was no need to go through so much trouble. The gray-robed woman seemed to know that Yen-ji would agree. She stepped forward, grabbed Yen-ji's hand, and said, "Don't move. I have a transfer talisman that can teleport the two of us away immediately." Sure enough, after she finished speaking, she took out a jade-like transfer talisman. After the transfer talisman activated, it immediately turned into a white light that swept the two of them away. Not long after the two of them left, several more figures appeared in this place. These cultivators did not have high cultivations and did not notice anything that had happened here. After a brief moment of dizziness, Yen-ji felt something solid under her feet, and she landed on the ground. As soon as her feet touched the ground, Yen-ji began to look around. This place looked like a basement. No, it should be called a basement. Yen-ji's spiritual consciousness could see that these basements were connected by some stone walls. The entire basement was illuminated by some bright light array formations, giving off a dim light. Her gaze then fell on the basement she was in. There was only a stone bed, a stone table, 2 stone stools, and a praying mat. This was the simplest cultivation cave. Apart from that, there was nothing else. "Where is this?" Yen-ji asked subconsciously. The gray-robed woman took out 2 cups and filled them with spiritual tea. She handed one to Yen-ji and said, "This is still the middle of Thorn-Tooth Lake. No one could have found this place. Your injuries aren't light. Drink a cup of spiritual tea first." Yen-ji didn't hesitate. She picked up the cup and drank the spiritual tea in one gulp. She then put down the cup and asked, "You should be in striking order Starry Sky. How did you come to 9 jewels Starry Sky? Do you know who I am?" The gray-robed woman looked at Yen-ji in surprise. Yan Ji raised her hand and took off her mask before speaking calmly, I didn't know before. But when you held my hand, I knew. She not only knew who this woman was, but she also knew that the two of them had a lot of connections. Both of them came from the Lu continent, and both were heaven's proud daughters. Not only that, but they were also known as the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers. But the truth was that the two of them didn't have any friendship at all. Instead, there was a gap between them. If the two of them had a complete falling out, it was all because of Ning Cheng. When the gray-robed woman heard Yan Ji's words, she sighed and also took off her mask. This was a pretty face that didn't lose out to Yan Ji. If not for Yan Ji's pale face, these two women would have looked like two lotuses blooming together. She was Nalan Rushue, who came from Lu continent with Yan Ji. Nalan Rushue, why did you save me? If I remember correctly, you should hate me. Yan Ji's expression was calm, as she calmly looked at Nalan Rushue and spoke. Yan Ji, do you think I'm a person who bites the hand that feeds me? Nalan Rushue spoke with a depressed tone. Yan Ji remained silent. She did think that Nalan Rushue was a person who bites the hand that feeds her. It's just that Nalan Rushue had saved her just now. She wasn't that kind of person. Why are you in Night Essence Celestial River? After a long silence, Yan Ji didn't directly answer Nalan Rushue's question. Instead, she changed the topic. Obviously, in her opinion, Nalan Rushue was a person who bites the hand that feeds her. As for why Nalan Rushue saved her, she also didn't know. Nalan Rushue took in a deep breath and slowly spoke, do you know which sect I joined in the Tian continent? Without waiting for Yan Ji to answer, Nalan Rushue took the initiative to speak, it's the Battle Devil Hall. At this point, she spoke with a self-deprecating tone, I came from the Lu continent's Thoughtless Academy, but I joined the Tian continent's Devil Sect's Battle Devil Hall. Do you want to join a devil sect because he's a devil cultivator? To alleviate the guilt in your heart? Yan Ji suddenly interjected. Nalan Rushue seemed to be answering Yan Ji's words, but also seemed to be talking to herself, I don't know. Devil cultivators are considered sinful in the eyes of everyone in Lu continent, and they need to be uprooted. But he's a devil cultivator, and he's wanted because of me. Maybe I almost killed him. Yan Ji spoke up with a cold tone, you didn't just harm him here. Did you know that when you entered the law's way, he almost died because of you? That Hang Jiaojiao teamed up with him, and he told Hang Jiaojiao to fuck off. But you stood up for Hang Jiaojiao, almost causing him to be killed by K Penghai. At that time, anyone could have stood up for the injustice, but you couldn't. If not for you, would he have been targeted by Hang Jiaojiao? He saved you from the hands of Hang Jiaojiao and Sikong Kai, but you, in order to help your enemy, almost let someone kill him. Nalan Rushue lowered her head, completely silent. What Yan Ji said was right, if Yan Ji had not stood up at that time, Ning Cheng, who had turned into Qing Xiaoning, would have already been killed by K Penghai. As for the reason, of course, it was because she had stood up for the injustice. After coming out of the law's way, she had already suspected that Ning Cheng might be her savior, yet she still used Ning Cheng as a shield. In the end, it was because Ning Cheng was just a grassroots, as such she did not care about his life or death. The Thoughtless Academy was a prestigious and upright academy, and her master had taught her that strength was everything. As long as one had formidable strength, they would not have to worry about the small details. Only by strengthening one's own strength was the most important thing. What's more, Ning Cheng's kindness to her was only a possibility, not a fact. What was more, it was a fact that Ning Cheng might have had an ulterior motive towards her, which she had discovered. It was not until later, when she was influenced by Meng Jingxiu and Yu Ying's words, plus after coming to the Tian continent, she saw that Ning Cheng was not worse than others just because he was a grassroots. On the contrary, there were so many geniuses in the Lu continent, yet none of them had the achievements of Ning Cheng. She began to reflect on her own actions. Growing up under the influence of her master, she hated the devil sects and devil cultivators to the extreme. Ning Cheng carried devil qi, coupled with the fact that he secretly had an ulterior motive towards her, naturally made him the target of her disgust. Because she finally learned the truth, it led to a huge psychological gap. That kind of guilt made her choose to join the devil sects. However, the Tian continent and the Lu continent were different. The Tian continent did not exterminate the devil sects. After Nalan Rushua joined the devil sects, her temperament began to become independent, no longer following the crowd. She believed in Yu Ying's words, sometimes even if you saw it with your own eyes, it might not necessarily be the truth. After so many years of independent tempering, she gradually put down the knot in her heart. Because she was a devil cultivator, she decided to head to the devil domain Grand Starry Sky. When she passed through the Night Essence Celestial River, she inadvertently came to this place. This place would be of great help to her cultivation, so she decided to stay here. Chapter 782. Ning Qing didn't stay in Striking Order Starry Sky for long before returning to Jiangzhou Star. With Zhang Caihe presiding over Jiangzhou Star, no one would dare to offend him. Ning Rulan had come out of seclusion 3 years ago. At that time, her cultivation had already reached the late-stage celestial Shatterer realm. Presumably, when she came out of seclusion, Ning Rulan would have advanced to the celestial Gatherer realm. With Ning Cheng's medicinal pills, Warren and Yuanxue both advanced to the heaven-seated realm, allowing stately River Star's strength to take another step forward. Yu Clan's corner moved to mysterious yellow celestial river's battle bucket star and started rebuilding. The only one who didn't pass was Ning Ruoqing. But Ning Qing could feel that Ning Ruoqing had entered a deep level of seclusion and didn't disturb her. But after giving some instructions to Zhang Caihe and the others, he immediately left for the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky. He couldn't give up on the Starry Sky radish grass. Once Duan Gantai obtained the Starry Sky radish grass, regardless of whether Duan Gantai could find someone to refine the Eternal Emperor Continuance pill, it wouldn't be a good thing for him. Silent Bubble Starland somewhat resembled Culmination Grand Starry Sky's Culmination Starland, the premier starland of Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky. The Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky's premier Starry Sky City, returning capital Starry Sky City, was also located in this starland. As the premier chamber of commerce in the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky, Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce was naturally located in Silent Bubble Starland's returning capital Starry Sky City. The auction held by Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce this time was absolutely unprecedented. Even if they didn't list all the top treasures in the auction, just a few of them were enough to drive most people crazy. It was precisely because there were so many treasures in this auction that the experts who came to participate in this auction were as numerous as the clouds. When Ning Qing arrived at returning capital Starry Sky City, the auction hadn't yet started. At this time, the entire returning capital Starry Sky City was overcrowded with people. It was simply impossible to find a rest stop. He had an illustrious name in Striking Order Starry Sky and Culmination Starland. But after coming to Silent Bubble Starland, no one knew who Ning Qing was. Finally, Ning Qing took out some perpetual moon pills and found a place to stay in a small rest stop. Half a month later, the auction organized by Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce officially began. There were many people participating in this auction, and it would be held for a long time. It would take at least half a month. Ning Qing followed the crowd into the spacious auction venue. After entering the auction venue, the jade card in his hand immediately showed some numbers, row 39, seat 137. Sure ennugh, as Suo Zihue said, this jade token was really a very ordinary jade token. He didn't expect to get a private room. There wasn't even a front row. However, compared to most of the positions, this one wasn't too bad. In Ning Cheng's eyes, the 39th row was not the front row, but in the eyes of many other cultivators, the 39th row was a very good position. After Ning Cheng sat down, he casually swept out with his spiritual consciousness. The entire auction venue was shaped like a pot, with the auction stage in the middle, surrounded by top-grade Starry Sky array formations. The private rooms were all located on the same level, and the aura there was the strongest. It was clear that the people in these private rooms were all almighty beings. Ning Qing didn't have much of a relationship with Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky's Qiao Jirue. Moreover, Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce was based in the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky. Ning Qing didn't believe that the Chamber of Commerce's association master, Yi Tsang, had nothing to do with Xiao Jirui. He had not come here to participate in this auction to forge a relationship with this old man Xiao Jirui. He had only come here to bid for the starry sky radish grass. Of course, if there was something he was interested in, he naturally wouldn't give up. 2 hours later, the noisy scene in the auction venue calmed down. Almost all the cultivators with admission cards had already entered the venue. Ning Qing had already seen Duan Gantai in the row behind him, not far from him. He believed that Duan Gantai had also seen him. As for the powerhouses in the private rooms, Ning Qing didn't use his spiritual consciousness to sweep out. These fellows were either the sect masters of some big sects or some starry sky emperors. A long-haired old man walked up to the auction stage, cupped his fists and said, "I'm Deacon Yu Cheng of Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, friends, for coming here to participate in my Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's auction. I believe that everyone here has some understanding of the things that will be auctioned in this auction. However, I still have to say that once the auction starts, you will find that you don't know enough about it. I'm sure that this auction will bring you a pleasant surprise. It will bring excitement to everyone." Yu Cheng's words caused some commotion. From this, many people, like Ning Qing, came here with a purpose. Ning Qing took in a deep breath and thought that if he hadn't plundered 20 starry sky spiritual veins from Duan Gantai, he wouldn't have been qualified to compete with others in this auction. Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's strength truly lived up to its reputation. This Yu Cheng was just a deacon, but his cultivation had already reached the early stage eternal realm. No wonder this Chamber of Commerce could become the premier Chamber of Commerce in the Devil Domain Grand Starry Sky. After the commotion calmed down a little, Yu Qing continued, "There are many things to be auctioned, so I won't waste any time. This auction will be presided over by my Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's third deputy master, Shui Wuchang. The auction will now begin." Shui Wuchang. Just as Ning Qing felt puzzled, a beautiful woman in a red dress walked up. It really was the Shui Wuchang he knew. Ning Qing didn't find it strange that Shui Wuchang had advanced to the heaven-seated realm. After all, Duan Gantai had given Shui Wuchang a celestial river essence Qi King pill. But what puzzled Ning Qing was that Shui Wuchang had left Moi City's Shui clan and come to the Devil Domain. Moreover, she had even become the third deputy master of Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce. Wasn't this change a bit too sudden? Ning Qing suddenly thought of the perpetual moon time key he had put up for auction, and a strange feeling welled up in his heart. He had taken this perpetual moon time key from Shui Wuchang. Now that Shui Wuchang put it up for auction, Ning Qing wondered what this woman would think about it. Nevertheless, Ning Qing didn't feel anything wrong about it. He had taken away Shui Wuchang's perpetual moon time key because Shui Wuchang wanted to use him. She even wanted to use his life to trap Duan Gantai. This woman even wanted his life, so what did it matter if he took away a perpetual moon time key? Shui Wuchang had at least given Duan Gantai some false information. Therefore, Ning Qing didn't know what Duan Gantai would do next. Shui Wuchang stood on the auction stage and first bowed to everyone before speaking with a slight smile, "I won't say any unnecessary words. I will be presiding over today's auction. This auction will not accept celestial coins, only perpetual moon pills, permanent essence pills, and starry sky spiritual veins. The first item to be auctioned today is a drop of single essence heavy water. However, this drop of single essence heavy water isn't complete. If you want half a drop." The news that the first item to be auctioned was the single essence heavy water caused everyone to feel excited. Who didn't know the value of the single essence heavy water? Even if one didn't add it to a weapon for refining it alone would still be a treasure. Ning Qing had seen Xiao Jirui obtain the single essence heavy water, and it was a complete drop at that. Now that there was only half a drop here, it meant that Chuan Xinlo must have taken the other half. The base price of the single essence heavy water is 50 million perpetual moon pills. Each bid must be at least 1 million. Let's start the bidding. Shui Wuchang spoke with a soft voice. Moreover, she also had a beautiful face. Taking out the single essence heavy water for the first time immediately aroused the enthusiasm of the cultivators in the auction hall. 50 million perpetual moon pills was something that ordinary cultivators couldn't save in their lifetime. Moreover, this was just the starting price. However, everyone here knew that even half a drop of the single essence heavy water was worth far more than 50 million perpetual moon pills. The bidding screen kept changing the price, and only the first price would occasionally appear. 60 million perpetual moon pills, 70 million. 130 million. The price of the single essence heavy water quickly jumped to 130 million perpetual moon pills. Ning Qing gave out a dark sigh. It seems that he and Duan Gantai were not the only rich cultivators. The starry skies were vast and boundless, and no one knew how many cultivators had obtained huge opportunities. Although Ning Cheng had more than 1 billion perpetual moon pills on him, he did not plan to bid. He wanted to save more than 1 billion perpetual moon pills for the development of the mysterious yellow sect. Moreover, he did not care about this half a drop of single essence heavy water. 2 million permanent essence pills. An abrupt bid immediately suppressed all the bids for perpetual moon pills, and the scene even turned silent for a moment. Although a permanent essence pill could be exchanged for 100 perpetual moon pills, few people would actually do so. Permanent essence pills had a much higher value compared to perpetual moon pills. Not only was the starry sky essence spirit chi pure and rich, it also contained some Dao charm aura. Cultivating with permanent essence pills was much easier than cultivating with perpetual moon pills. Moreover, the higher one's cultivation, the lower the effect of perpetual moon pills. Only permanent essence pills would have an effect. In the end, without any dispute, this half drop of single essence heavy water was bought by someone for 2 million permanent essence pills. Shui Wuchang's gaze suddenly fell on Ning Cheng, but she quickly looked away and spoke with a smile. Congratulations to the friend in booth 394 for obtaining the single essence heavy water. Next, we will be bidding on something that no one could have imagined. It should be said that as long as one is a starry sky cultivator, no one would not want to obtain such a thing. If not for the person who put it up for auction repeatedly telling us to bid for this treasure in advance, we would have sold this treasure as the finale treasure. Shui Wuchang's words stirred the emotions of the cultivators in the auction venue. One could say that at this moment, apart from Ning Cheng, everyone was eager to know what this treasure was. How could it be used as the finale treasure in this auction? Chapter 783. As the atmosphere grew more intense, Shui Wuchang raised a jade box and said, "This jade box contains a jade card. But I want to tell everyone that this isn't an ordinary jade card, but a Dao confirming perception jade card." Shui Wuchang's words caused a burst of noise, and even some of the private booths felt excited. A Dao confirming perception jade card was a priceless treasure. Shui Wuchang didn't feel anything wrong with putting it last. After everyone's excitement calmed down, Shui Wuchang continued, "This Dao confirming perception jade card came from the Crow Star and was left behind by Daoist Crow before he left." When Shui Wuchang spoke until here, most people understood what she meant. It wasn't a secret that Daoist Crow left behind the Dao confirming perception inheritance jade card. But no one expected that Daoist Crow would leave behind the Dao confirming perception inheritance jade card. Everyone sitting in the hall knew that they wouldn't have a share in the Dao confirming perception jade card. Only eternal cultivators could compete for such a thing. Eternal cultivators naturally wouldn't sit in the hall. Most of them were in the private booths. In other words, this Dao confirming perception jade card was something that only the powerhouses in the private booths could compete for. Shui Wuchang placed the jade box on the table in front of her. The Dao confirming perception jade card has a base price of 10 million permanent essence pills. Each bid must be at least 1 million permanent essence pills. Let the bidding begin. The starting price of the Dao confirming perception jade card was 10 million permanent essence pills. It wasn't too expensive, but it also wasn't too cheap. If one could use it to successfully confirm one's Dao, not to mention 10 million, even 100 million permanent essence pills wouldn't be too expensive. But if one couldn't confirm one's Dao after using it, and it even affected one's Dao, then even if it was a free gift, it would still be too expensive. Ning Cheng hadn't seen Taoist Crow's Dao confirming perception jade card. He had his own Dao and didn't need to confirm others' Dao. After Shui Wuchang's words, the auction venue quieted down, and no one bid for a long time. Ning Cheng touched his chin in a depressed manner. He had planned to use this Dao confirming perception jade card to exchange for some permanent essence pills to bid for the starry sky radish grass. But he didn't expect that no one would bid for this thing. Did this mean that no one would bid for it? If it weren't for the auction taking a 10% cut, Ning Cheng would have already taken the initiative to bid. If he called out a price and no one raised it, he would suffer a huge loss. He was the one who put this thing up for auction. After a few minutes, Shui Wuchang spoke up with a smile. It looks like everyone is confident in reaching Dao confirming realm and doesn't care much about Taoist Crow's Dao confirming perception jade card. I'll announce it again. If no one bids, then this Dao confirming perception jade card will not be auctioned. I'll bid 11 million permanent essence pills. This time, Shui Wuchang's words had just ended when an abrupt voice rang out in the hall. In the hall, the ones who were being called out were the ones with the highest bids on the screen. Now that there was only one person who was bidding, the price was immediately called out. Without waiting for Shui Wuchang to speak, someone else bid 12 million permanent essence pills. As these two prices came out, the scene was like a river bank that had been dug open, and the bids began to flow. 15 million permanent essence pills. 16 million, 21 million permanent essence pills. The price rose very quickly, and in just a moment, the entire bidding screen was filled with prices. From time to time, the voice calling out the first price. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh. He had a good opportunity. Apart from the 20 starry sky essence chi veins he obtained from Duan Gantai, he also had a few million permanent essence pills. From the looks of it, there were too many rich cultivators around. No wonder Yan Xishuang could easily take out 10 million permanent essence pills. The starry skies were vast, and everyone really had a chance to obtain opportunities. 20 million permanent essence pills plus a complete high-rank star vein. A new bid once again suppressed the other bids. Star veins were actually starry sky essence chi spirit veins, but the purity of starry sky essence chi spirit veins couldn't compare to permanent essence pills. However, a starry sky essence chi spirit vein definitely contained more than 10 million permanent essence pills. Once this bid came out, no one else continued to increase the price. Ning Cheng felt satisfied with this price. What he lacked was a lot of permanent essence pills. With the support of so many permanent essence pills, as long as he obtained the starry sky radish grass, he could definitely advance to the eternal realm. The third and fourth items up for auction were the fiery silver wings and the heavenly gathering flying sand, both top-grade artifact crafting materials and treasures for crafting top-grade Dao artifacts. Ning Cheng didn't bid, and the two items quickly sold for tens of millions of perpetual moon pills. The next item up for auction is an attack-type weapon. Shui Wuchang hadn't even finished her words when Ning Cheng lost interest. He himself was a top-grade artifact crafting master. Even if it was a top-grade weapon, as long as he had the materials, he could craft it. This weapon is a long spear. I believe many people have already guessed it. That's right, this is one of the 3 spirit artifacts in this auction, the Celestial Rainbow Purgatory Spear. The Celestial Rainbow Purgatory Spear is undoubtedly a spirit artifact. After the appraisal of several seniors, the grade of this long spear definitely exceeds that of a semi-spirit artifact. It might even be a low-rank spirit artifact. If you wield the Celestial Rainbow Purgatory Spear as an attack-type weapon, your strength would be much stronger than others in the same realm. Shui Wuchang's words immediately attracted the attention of most of the cultivators who had the qualifications to obtain the Celestial Rainbow Purgatory Spear. They all wanted to know if they could buy this treasure. Even Ning Cheng felt his heart move. A long spear wasn't rare, and he could craft a lot of them. But a low-rank spirit artifact long spear was a different story. Not to mention that he couldn't craft low-rank spirit artifacts right now. Even if he could craft low-rank spirit artifacts, he didn't have the materials. Moreover, materials for crafting low-rank spirit artifacts weren't easy to find. Thinking about the fact that he didn't have a suitable weapon, Ning Qing made up his mind to purchase this celestial rainbow purgatory spear. If he fought against Chuan Xinluo in the future, he would need a good weapon. Seeing the emotions stirred up by her words, Shui Wuchang showed a sweet smile and called out, "The base price of the celestial rainbow purgatory spear is 1 million permanent essence pills, and each increase must be no less than 100,000 permanent essence pills." Ning Qing hadn't even started bidding when the price on the bidding screen jumped to 3.7 million permanent essence pills. Moreover, the price kept rising. Ning Qing had originally planned to use perpetual moon pills to purchase the celestial rainbow purgatory spear, but he gave up on the idea. Although he had a lot of perpetual moon pills, he didn't have many perpetual moon pills for a sect. "Don't compete with me. I bid 5 million permanent essence pills." A loud voice filled the hall, and at the same time, a price of 5 million permanent essence pills appeared at the top of the bidding screen. Many of the cultivators in the hall didn't know who this person was, but most of the cultivators in the private booths knew who this person was. Most of the powerhouses who came here to participate in the auction were like Ning Qing. Most of them would inquire about competitors that they couldn't afford to offend to avoid conflicts. The reason why Ning Qing didn't ask about them was not because he didn't fear anyone, but because he had only started cultivating for a short time. Compared to those powerhouses who had lived for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years, he knew too few people. Even if he wanted to inquire about them, he didn't know where to start. Some of the Starry Sky clans and big sects couldn't simply ask a few questions. It was the accumulation of experience over a long period of time. Don't look at Ning Cheng's strength in Grand Culmination Starry Sky. Not many people in the Devil Domain and Demon Domain cared about him. This was also the reason why Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce invited Chuan Xinluo and Spiritual Heaven Sect's Qin Xingwen to participate in the auction, but not Ning Qing. Moreover, Ning Qing came here mainly for the Starry Sky radish grass. He didn't expect to see the celestial rainbow purgatory spear here. Knowing about the power behind the cultivator who bid 5 million permanent essence pills, everyone knew that this person wasn't being arrogant and brainless, but truly had the ability to do so. If one could save hundreds of permanent essence pills with just a few words, why not take advantage of it? Even if they didn't know who the cultivator who bid 5 million permanent essence pills was, they knew that this person wasn't someone to mess with. Who would dare to say such words in the auction? How could a person who was easy to deal with occupy box 19 in this kind of auction? One had to know that the closer the booth was to the front, the higher the status. Shui Wuchang, seeing that no one continued to increase the price, raised her voice. "Booth number 19 bids 5 million permanent essence pills. Anyone else?" 5 million permanent essence pills going once. Apparently, Shui Wuchang also knew who the person in this booth was. Therefore, she didn't take too long to call out the bid. However, before she could call out a second time, the price on the bidding screen refreshed. The latest bid was a complete high-grade Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein. Ning Qing also felt helpless. The auction house still owed him permanent essence pills. Therefore, he could only use the Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein to bid. As soon as this bid came out, the entire auction venue fell into a brief silence. A high-grade Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein compared to the previous bid of 5 million permanent essence pills. Wasn't this bid a bit too much? But this wasn't the main reason for the silence in the venue. The main reason for the silence in the venue was a row of conspicuous words in front of the quotation. Hall 39, row 137, quoted a high-grade Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein. In just a few breaths, several spiritual consciousnesses swept over to Ning Qing. Everyone wanted to know where this idiot came from. More than a dozen powerful spiritual consciousnesses touched Ning Qing, but they immediately retracted them. Apparently, these people knew who Ning Qing was. They also understood. No wonder they dared to bid. Some cultivators, who didn't know who Ning Qing was, still used their spiritual consciousnesses to scan Ning Qing for a long time. Ning Qing remained calm. Since he was sitting in the hall, he didn't plan to hide his whereabouts. Sitting next to Ning Cheng was a middle-aged female cultivator. It wasn't until many powerful spiritual consciousnesses swept over that she realized that the cultivator sitting next to her dared to bid against booth number 19. Although these spiritual consciousnesses didn't sweep towards her, her face still turned pale with fright. She cautiously sent a sound transmission to Ning Cheng, "Friend, quickly withdraw your bid." She stopped halfway through her words, as she understood that she had spoken nonsense. Withdrawing one's bid in this auction would only result in death. Chapter 784. Shui Wuchang knew Ning Cheng, but she didn't expect Ning Cheng to dare to step in at this time and bid against booth 19. For a moment, she even forgot to continue bidding. She didn't continue bidding, but booth 19 spoke up, "I would like to ask the auction house to pause for a moment. I want to talk to this person from row 39, seat 137. Ning Cheng sneered. Who did this fellow think he was? Even Xiao Jierui didn't have the qualifications to ask for a pause in the auction to resolve personal grievances, right? What left Ning Cheng dumbfounded was that Shui Wuchang agreed to this fellow's rude request. Not only did she agree, but she also stood on the auction stage and spoke aloud, "Dear friends who came to bid, because booth 19 belongs to the top 20, my Ash Pagoda auction house has a clear rule. My Ash Pagoda auction house has a clear rule that during the auction, if the owner of the top 20 boxes has a conflict with the guests in the hall, then the box owner has the right to temporarily negotiate with the cultivators in the hall. I ask for your understanding." Ning Cheng shook his head. He didn't expect Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce to have such a strange rule. If this kind of thing happened in his stately River Star, he would have slapped the fellow in booth 19 away. No matter where you sat, as long as you participated in the auction, you were in equal existence and spoke with the price. This kind of small trick would be directly slapped away. Ning Cheng felt strange, but others didn't find it strange. In the entire starry sky, how many places were like stately River Star? Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce added this rule to add a sense of honor to the guests in the top 20 booths. Just think about it. Which cultivator sitting in the hall would dare to bid against the owner of the top 20 booths? One had to know that the entrance fee for these booths was astronomical. But this kind of thing happened. Not only did it happen, but it also happened in such a large-scale auction. Shui Wuchang, as the third deputy head of this auction house, naturally knew about this rule. The auction venue remained silent, and everyone was waiting to see how booth 19 would deal with this matter. Some cultivators who knew Ning Cheng's identity also didn't speak. Those who had some friendship with Ning Cheng knew that Ning Cheng didn't fear anyone at all and didn't need them to speak. As for those who had no friendship with Ning Cheng, who would care about his life or death? At this time, a late-stage Heaven's Mandate man came out of booth 19 and walked towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could clearly see that there were two other cultivators in booth 19. One of them was a cultivator at the late-stage life and death stage. Behind him stood another cultivator at the heavenly mandate stage. That cultivator must also be a follower. Looking at the disdainful look in the eyes of the life and death cultivator, Ning Cheng understood that he had already eaten Ning Cheng alive. The man in the heaven's mandate realm walked up to Ning Cheng, took out a ring and placed it in front of Ning Cheng. This contains 5 million permanent essence pills. It's yours now. What does that mean? Ning Cheng asked with a frown. The man in heaven's mandate realm spoke up in a cold voice, "Young master is a reasonable person. You can have these 5 million permanent essence pills, but you have to take out that starry sky essence chi spirit vein. As for bidding for the celestial rainbow purgatory spear, you are not allowed to say it again." Ning Cheng understood that this person wanted to use 5 million permanent essence pills in exchange for his starry sky essence chi spirit vein. It truly made sense. However, this reasoning was obviously not targeted at him, but at the auction house. He had taken out a starry sky essence chi spirit vein in exchange for only 5 million permanent essence pills. Needless to say, he suffered a loss. The young master still used 5 million permanent essence pills in exchange for the celestial rainbow purgatory spear, and the auction house also obtained a starry sky essence cheese spirit vein. Ning Qing silently put away the ring containing the 5 million permanent essence pills and said, "I'll accept it. You can go now." The cultivator in the heavens mandate realm, on seeing Ning Qing put away the permanent essence pills and not take out the starry sky essence cheese spirit vein, immediately erupted with killing intent and raised his hand to grab Ning Qing's neck. Ning Qing snorted and didn't move. Instead, he raised his hand and sent out a slap. Slap, with a crisp sound, the man in the heavens mandate realm flew out under Ning Qing's slap. His body slammed into the defensive restrictions in front of the auction stage, triggering a burst of alarm sounds. With a bang, the man in the heavens mandate realm fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Moreover, Ning Qing had left behind his cultivation on the account that he did not use any profanity. Some of the cultivators worried about Ning Qing looked at Ning Qing in shock. Ning Qing just sat still and easily slapped away a cultivator in the heavens mandate realm. This meant that his cultivation was at least in the heaven-seated realm. However, even if it were an eternal cultivator, such a thing would only result in death. At the very least, they wouldn't be able to leave returning capital Starry Sky City. "You're looking for death." The man in booth 19 stood up in anger and exuded a thick, killing intent. Ning Qing took his permanent essence pills and didn't take out the Starry Sky essence cheese spirit vein. Moreover, he even slapped away the person he sent out. He had never seen anyone act so unreasonable in front of him. It stood to reason that he should be the unreasonable one. Enough. Booth 19 has already exercised its rights. The auction will continue. A cold snort arrived, causing the man in booth 19 to freeze for a moment. Although blue veins popped up on his forehead and killing intent filled his body, he had no choice but to restrain his anger under this reprimand. Another attendant in the booth quickly ran out and helped the man in the heavens mandate realm, who had slammed into the defensive restrictions, back into the booth. Although everyone knew that the cultivator in booth 19 would not let go of Ning Qing after the auction ended, at least for now, many people looked at Ning Qing with a hint of fear. Ning Qing remained calm and didn't show even the slightest fluctuation. If the cultivator in booth 19 dared to come up and find trouble with him again, he would definitely kill him. Even if the auction house wanted to take action, he would still take action. He didn't expect that the auction house would give the right to the person in booth 19. But after he took action, the auction house seemed to have become fair again. Since that was the case, he didn't need to continue to make trouble. At least, didn't he pick up 5 million permanent essence pills for free? Shui Wuchang spoke up with a clear voice, "Congratulations to this friend in row 39, seat 137. You obtained the celestial rainbow purgatory spear." As Shui Wuchang's voice fell, a ring containing the long spear appeared in front of Ning Qing. Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness swept out and determined that it was a weapon that surpassed top-grade Dao artifacts. Only then did he put away the long spear. At the same time, he sent a starry sky essence chi spirit vein into the ring before sending the ring back. The next thing we're going to auction is very strange. To tell you the truth, I don't know what this thing is. That is, the sender has a very strange request. That is, this thing must be opened on the spot. Moreover, if it fails to be auctioned, it must be destroyed on the spot. Don't think that this thing is worthless. In fact, even the previous few items added up couldn't match the asking price of this thing. Shui Wuchang's words once again aroused the curiosity of the cultivators in the auction hall. Even the previous few items added up couldn't match the asking price of this thing. Where else could such a valuable treasure be found? Besides, if there really was such a valuable treasure, who would be willing to destroy it if it failed to be auctioned? Wasn't this a contradiction? The strangest thing wasn't the item itself, but the person hosting the auction didn't even know what treasure it was. Shui Wuchang's tone turned even more charming. "I believe that everyone is just like me, curious about this thing. In fact, I'm really curious about it and want to know immediately. What the hell is this thing? Why is it so mysterious? I also want to know why the sender is so capricious and wants to destroy it if it can't be auctioned. Duan Gantai suddenly frowned. He had a bad feeling in his heart. Ning Qing sneered in his heart. He didn't believe that Duan Gantai wouldn't make a move. He had already reached an agreement with the auction house that if this thing could be auctioned off, they would give 5% of the proceeds to the auction house. Even if this thing was destroyed, he would also take out half a Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Vein to the auction house. Although the commission was less than 10%, with such a generous reward, the auction house naturally agreed to Ning Cheng's request without hesitation. Hurry up and open it. We can't wait. Some of the anxious cultivators in the hall called out. The focus of the conflict between Ning Cheng and Booth 19 a moment ago had now shifted to this mysterious thing. Shui Wuchang raised the jade box and said, "Now let's witness what kind of mysterious treasure this is. Why would they use such a mysterious method to put it up for auction?" Everyone stared at Shui Wuchang's hand and watched as Shui Wuchang slowly opened the jade box. The moment the jade box opened, Shui Wuchang's mouth dropped open. She stared at the jade box in her hand in shock. She even froze for a moment. There was a restriction in front of the auction stage that isolated spiritual consciousness. Therefore, before the auction house allowed spiritual consciousness to sweep in, everyone could only watch with their eyes. But they couldn't turn their eyes away. While Shui Wuchang froze, the people in the auction venue turned even more anxious. Similarly, the people who came to the auction wanted to know what this thing was. Even the person hosting the auction felt shocked. What the hell is it? That's right, hurry up and announce it. A burst of noise at the scene finally woke Shui Wuchang up from her shock. But her shocked expression quickly returned to normal. Friends, I really felt shocked just now. I thought that this thing was just a key, so how could it be so mysterious? It wasn't until I saw what this key was that I realized why it was so mysterious. After saying this, Shui Wuchang calmed down completely and spoke in a soft and crisp tone. Presumably, many people know that Culmination Striking Order Starry Sky has 3 mysterious temples, the Ancient Shadow Temple, the Guardian Temple, and the Temple of Time. That's right, this key is the key to open one of the 3 temples, the Temple of Time. To be precise, it's one of the 3 keys to open the Temple of Time. No wonder this cultivator asked for such a high price. The Temple of Time was left behind by the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor. I heard that it not only allows one to comprehend the laws of time but also contains countless heavenly treasures. Unfortunately, there is only one key here. After saying the last sentence, Shui Wuchang felt that something was wrong. She shouldn't have said such words that were detrimental to the auction. That's because she subconsciously wanted to keep this key for herself. Or rather, this key originally belonged to her. Fortunately, she reacted in time. Knowing what she was doing and where she was, she quickly changed the topic. Now let's look at the starting price of this key. Shui Wuchang's words immediately caused a stir. Even if it was just a key, this was the Temple of Time. The Temple of Time's time stone was famous throughout the universe. Who didn't know about it? If someone obtained a key, would they still need to worry about others not coming to their door? If they entered the Temple of Time and controlled the laws of time, then the only person with a livid expression was Duan Gantai, who sat behind Ning Cheng. Chapter 785. He knew that Ning Cheng coveted his star vein, but he did not expect Ning Cheng to have such a move. Do you want the key? For Duan Gantai, if Ning Cheng's asking price was too high, he would rather not take it and destroy it. He had obtained many good things in the Guardian Temple, but without the Temple of Time, it would be gone. Shui Wuchang's voice sounded with a slight tremble. The base price of this perpetual moon time key is 10 star veins, and each increment must be no less than 1 star vein. Even though she knew that the starting price was based on star veins, she still couldn't help but tremble when she quoted this price. She had never seen anyone using star veins to bid for something. Duan Gantai clenched his fists. As long as Ning Cheng quoted more than 10 star veins, he would give up on it and destroy it. This was different from when he bought the first key with 20 star veins. He had to buy that key. Otherwise, Ning Cheng might obtain the Temple of Time. If this key to the Temple of Time ended up destroyed, he wouldn't be able to obtain it, and neither would Ning Cheng. He did not expect Ning Cheng to quote 10-star veins, which was within the range of what he wanted. This fellow was truly cunning. Ning Cheng had asked for 10-starry sky spiritual veins after careful consideration. He knew that if the price was too high, Duan Gantai might not want it. This fellow was not only insidious, but also decisive. He wanted to quote a price that would make it hard for Duan Gantai to choose. Even if he really bought it, it wouldn't hurt him too much. With Duan Gantai's net worth, 10-starry sky essence chi spirit veins would be just right. As soon as the price of 10-starry sky essence chi spirit veins came out, everyone felt amazed. Even the powerhouses in the private booths felt completely shocked. Even they couldn't take out 10-star veins easily. At this time, the auction hall quietened down. Perhaps everyone wanted to see if anyone would bid for 11-star veins. Duan Gantai did not bid. 11-star veins wouldn't hurt him too much. Moreover, he was willing to take out 11 spirit veins to purchase this perpetual moon time key. However, he did not like the feeling of being schemed against, especially by Ning Cheng. It had always been him, Duan Gantai, who schemed against others, but since when did it become others' turn to scheme against him, Duan Gantai? Even if he wanted to buy this key, he would use his own way to do it. He would never let others control him. Previously, he had no choice but to take back his first perpetual moon time key. But now, he had no other choice. After a few minutes, no one bid, including Duan Gantai. Ning Cheng couldn't sit still. He didn't want to destroy this perpetual moon time key. Ning Cheng felt that Duan Gantai wouldn't. Duan Gantai would suffer no loss. Duan Tian would suffer a huge loss. Chen would Ning Tian's the perpetual Gantai. If Duan Gantai truly didn't want to bid, then he would have to destroy this perpetual moon time key. Although Duan Gantai wouldn't suffer any loss, it would be his loss. Dat Yang Cheng. Tian might, if Cheng didn't ve Tian Cheng's dong, Tian would Cheng Tian's not. Cheng wanted to Tian. 2. Cheng wanted to Cheng Tian to say. And done Tian. Cheng. And Cheng. I King Cheng. Not. Tian. Dong. Hee, if I were elder brother Ning, I would now take back the destroyed key, and then privately trade with this little brother might even agree to it. Otherwise, we'll break up. Ning Cheng initially wanted to threaten Duan Gantai with a few words, but after hearing Duan Gantai's words, he immediately felt unhappy. Brother Duan doesn't like to be threatened, and it just so happens that I don't like to be threatened either. Since that's the case, then let's part ways. For the sake of 10-star veins, he wanted to go back on his words and then beg Duan Gantai. Only in his dreams would he be able to retract his words. Duan Gantai felt shocked when he heard Ning Cheng's words. He truly felt afraid that Ning Cheng would go all in and destroy the perpetual moon time key. Shui Wucheng's voice broke the silence on the scene. No one has bid for the perpetual moon time key so far. Now entering the countdown. When Duan Gantai heard the countdown timer, he knew that he had to make a choice. He didn't like being threatened, but the Temple of Time was something he had long wanted to seize. He had obtained the Temple of Time much longer than the Guardian Temple, even before the Guardian Temple. Now that he was about to get his hands on it, how could he be willing to destroy it in front of him? Just as Duan Gantai clenched his fists and prepared to be threatened again, and Ning Cheng lamented in his heart, a sudden voice rang out in the auction hall, I bid 11-star veins. Did someone really bid? Not only Duan Gantai, but even Ning Cheng felt stunned. He had bid 10-star veins to trick Duan Gantai, but he had never thought of tricking others. Now that Duan Gantai had failed, he ended up tricking others. After a period of silence, the auction hall once again turned restless. They had never expected to see someone use 11-star veins to buy a key. Shui Wuchang also breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, although she knew that this key no longer belonged to her, she still felt a little reluctant to destroy this perpetual moontime key, which she had once obtained, on the spot. Now that someone bid, she naturally felt relieved and spoke up in a loud voice, "Booth 7 has bid 11-star veins. Is there any higher bid?" 11-star veins going once. Ning Qing couldn't help but sigh at Duan Gantai's shrewdness. He didn't even bid. Even after Shui Wuchang called out 3 times, Duan Gantai didn't continue to increase the price. In the end, the perpetual moontime key went to the person from booth 7. However, this wasn't a bad thing for Ning Qing. He didn't have to care about the person from booth 7 who bought the perpetual moontime key. As long as Duan Gantai wanted something from the Temple of Time, he would have to coordinate with the person from booth 7 and himself. Congratulations to the friend from booth 7 for winning the perpetual moontime key. With Shui Wuchang's congratulations, the perpetual moontime key, which only one person bid, finally sold. Only one person bid, but it ended up with the highest price in the entire auction, which was quite a strange thing. Shui Wuchang raised a jade box again and said, "Next, we're going to auction a set of Accordance Heavenly Pills." You didn't hear it wrong. Not one, but a set of 6. Moreover, each of the Accordance Heavenly Pills in this set is top quality. If I'm not wrong, only Grand Culmination Starry Sky's premier pill Emperor Tsang Tsaiha could refine Accordance Heavenly Pills of this grade. If the previous items were too far away from ordinary cultivators, then the Accordance Heavenly Pills were close to every cultivator in the hall who came to participate in the auction. What made these cultivators feel conflicted was, why did they have to auction it in a group? Wouldn't it be better to auction it one by one? The base price of this set of Accordance Heavenly Pills is 60 million Perpetual Moon Pills. Each bid must be at least 1 million Perpetual Moon Pills. The bidding starts now. As Shui Wuchang announced the price on the bidding screen quickly flipped. The cultivators in the hall immediately started looking for partners. After all, there were 6 Accordance Heavenly Pills, and with 6 people jointly bidding, each person would get one. In the end, the 6 people in the hall jointly bought this set of Accordance Heavenly Pills for 230 million Perpetual Moon Pills. Not everyone could be as rich as Duan Gantai or Ning Qing. Therefore, the 6 people jointly took out more than 200 million Perpetual Moon Pills, which was already considered the richest among the rich. Ning Qing had his own reasons for taking out this set of Accordance Heavenly Pills for auction. Moreover, more than 200 million Perpetual Moon Pills made him feel very satisfied. Following the auction, another 7 or 8 items appeared, but Ning Qing did not bid. Ning Qing also noticed that Duan Gantai had not called out a single bid since the start of the auction. The next item is a top-grade Starry Sky Spirit Fruit. I believe that many people have already guessed it. Yes, it's the Starry Sky Radish Grass that we advertised. The Starry Sky Radish Grass is a treasure that can be used to refine Eternal Emperor Continuance Pills. It is a supreme spirit fruit that can help life and death experts advance to the Eternal Realm. I believe that many of you came here for the Starry Sky Radish Grass. Shui Wuchang's words were not wrong. If the Accordance Heavenly Pill was something that all Heaven's Mandate cultivators desperately needed, then the Starry Sky Radish Grass was naturally a treasure that life and death experts could only dream of. Not to mention others, even Ning Qing and Duan Gantai had come here specifically for the Starry Sky Radish Grass. Although the Accordance Heavenly Pill was precious, its grade wasn't too high. Ordinary pill emperors could refine it as long as they had the corresponding Starry Sky Spirit Grasses. However, ordinary pill emperors couldn't refine Eternal Emperor Continuance Pills. More importantly, the main ingredient for refining the Eternal Emperor Continuance Pill, the Starry Sky Radish Grass, was something that could only be found by chance. As soon as the Starry Sky Radish Grass came out, Duan Gantai immediately put aside the matter of the Perpetual Moontime Key. Even if he wanted to negotiate with the cultivator who bought the Perpetual Moontime Key, he would have to wait until he obtained the Starry Sky Radish Grass. Moreover, he also guessed that Ning Cheng might have come here for the starry sky radish grass. In any case, he couldn't let Ning Cheng obtain the starry sky radish grass. Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai focused their attention, as did the rest of the cultivators who came here for the starry sky radish grass. Shui Wuchang displayed the jade box containing the starry sky radish grass in her hand and spoke. The starting price for the starry sky radish grass is 1 million permanent essence pills. Each bid must be at least 100,000 permanent essence pills. Let the bidding begin. This price immediately dispelled many cultivators' thoughts of competing. Even among life and death cultivators, not everyone could come up with millions of permanent essence pills. Moreover, the starting price for this starry sky radish grass was just too high. If it were an eternal emperor continuance pill, then the starting price would be 1 million permanent essence pills. A starry sky radish grass dared to start at 1 million permanent essence pills. This was simply a sky-high price without even asking for money. Although the asking price for the starry sky radish grass was indeed high, no matter how high the price was, people would still want it in this kind of auction. Thinking about the perpetual moon time key, people would even want it for 11 star veins, let alone a mere 1 million permanent essence pills. Every cultivator who advanced to the life and death realm wanted eternity. However, there was only a small amount of opportunity for eternity. If one didn't grasp even a little bit of it, they might miss out on a lifetime. 1 million permanent essence pills. 3 million permanent essence pills. 2 million permanent essence pills. 2 million. The price of the starry sky radish grass quickly reached 4 million permanent essence pills. This price was already very high, but someone called out again at this time. I bid 3 million permanent essence pills. I must get this starry sky radish grass. Chapter 786. As soon as this voice came out, everyone didn't even need to look at the words on the big screen to know that it came from booth 19. Most of the cultivators didn't expect that booth 19, after experiencing Ning Cheng's face-slapping incident, would come up with such a method. However, everyone understood that the cultivator in booth 19 was also at the late-stage life and death realm. If he wanted to advance to the perpetual moon realm, he naturally needed the starry sky radish grass. Although the starry sky radish grass was precious, most eternal cultivators wouldn't put it in their eyes. Since booth 19 got slapped in the face by Ning Cheng, in addition to the urgent need for the starry sky radish grass, he also wanted to quickly regain his face. Cultivators who knew about the origins of booth 19 naturally wouldn't offend him for a starry sky radish grass. Booth 19 bid 3 million permanent essence pills. Is there any higher bid than 3 million? If there is no higher bid than 3 million permanent essence pills, then this starry sky radish grass, which can be used to refine the eternal emperor continuance pill, belongs to booth 19. Shui Wuchang didn't rush to call out the number of times this time. No matter how great one's background was, the auction house couldn't give face every time. Shui Wuchang, as the host of the auction, naturally wouldn't teach her this. 4 million permanent essence pills. Another new price brushed down the 3 million permanent essence pills bid. It felt as if booth 19's warning was equivalent to a fart. After booth 19 said that he wanted it, someone still increased the price. Moreover, it was 1 million permanent essence pills, which was tantamount to a slap in the face. No matter which booth made the bid, it was bound to create displeasure with booth 19. Everyone immediately stared at the huge bidding screen, wanting to know who would continue to slap their faces. When everyone saw the row of words in front of the bid, the entire venue started to talk again. At the top of the bidding screen, it read, Row 40, Seat 163, bid 4 million permanent essence pills for the starry sky radish grass, currently the highest bid. A price of 4 million permanent essence pills wasn't unusual. Besides, there were many wealthy cultivators who could come to this auction. What was unusual was that the cultivator who made the bid still sat in an ordinary seat in the hall, not in a booth at all. The life and death cultivator in booth 19 trembled with anger. He never expected that the cultivator sitting in the hall would slap his face again and again. Did he think he was easy to bully because he had been slapped in the face? Previously, when he was slapped in the face, the reason why he hadn't taken revenge until now was because he was still in the auction, not because he didn't dare to take revenge. These country bumpkins probably came from another starry sky and did not know who he was. I request to negotiate with row 40, seat 163. What made people speechless was that room 19 once again said that he wanted to negotiate with the bidders in the hall. This time, Shui Wuchang did not answer directly. Instead, she pressed a button. After a few breaths, the previous voice once again reverberated in the auction hall. Room 19 is allowed to negotiate with the guests in the hall for no more than half a quarter of an hour. At the same time, I would like to make an announcement. After this auction, no negotiation is allowed in the auction house. Only the price is allowed. Because this kind of negotiation had occurred twice in this auction, the Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce felt that there was something wrong with their rules. Just because this kind of thing didn't happen usually didn't mean it never happened. However, they couldn't remove this rule now, so they could only agree to Room 19's negotiation request again. Everyone knew that Room 19's actions made the auction house unhappy. If not for the face of the person behind Room 19, the auction house might have rejected it directly. Room 19's door opened again, and the late-stage life and death cultivator sitting in the middle stopped his attendant from going out. Apparently, he had learned his lesson from Ning Cheng's mistake and intended to negotiate by himself. Seeing the man from room 19 walk towards row 40 of the hall, the people in the venue immediately observed a moment of silence for the cultivator in row 40, seat 163. Being rich wasn't a bad thing, but being rich also required a little bit of heart. This person obviously wanted to get back at him for the previous slap in the face. Ning Cheng felt a little speechless. He hadn't even bid yet this fellow from room 19 had already started fighting with Duan Gantai. Although this fellow was a late-stage life and death cultivator, he was nothing compared to Duan Gantai. I know that you're also a life and death cultivator, but I won't let you suffer a loss. Give me this starry sky radish grass at the same price. The life and death cultivator walked up to Duan Gantai and spoke with a slightly indifferent tone. It wasn't like what others thought, that he just wanted to get back his face. Rather, he really wanted this starry sky radish grass. Otherwise, he wouldn't have used such a negotiating tone. Moreover, his words weren't completely unreasonable. Duan Gantai slowly stood up and stared at the cultivator without speaking. The life and death cultivator from room 19, on seeing Duan Gantai's unfriendly gaze, frowned slightly and said, "I'm from Scram." Without waiting for the life and death cultivator from room 19 to finish his words, Duan Gantai shouted out the word "Scram" and raised his hand to slap him. Seeing Ning Cheng take out the perpetual moon time key for the auction, Duan Gantai felt extremely unhappy. He didn't dare to make a move against Ning Cheng, but at this time, someone actually dared to speak up. How could he let it go? It was always him, Duan Gantai, who forced others. Since when did someone dare to force him, Duan Gantai? He didn't care about the person behind room 19. Even if it was Qiao Jirue, so what? Could he even pull out a single hair from his body? The life and death cultivator from room 19 didn't expect that a fellow in the hall would dare to take the initiative to attack him. The difference in strength between him and Duan Gantai was like heaven and earth. Coupled with the fact that he wasn't prepared, Duan Gantai's slap sent him flying. Bang! Duan Gantai once again slapped the cultivator against the main stage's restrictions, causing a burst of alarms to erupt. Everyone felt completely stunned. What the hell was going on? The rogue cultivator from row 39 had only made a move when others were ready to make a move. But now, the cultivator in row 40 seemed to have a bigger temper compared to the one in room 19. He even made the first move. Not only did he make the first move, but he also sent a late-stage life and death cultivator flying with a slap. This kind of strength was just too powerful. The life and death cultivator from room 19 stood up and didn't even bother to check the blood at the corner of his mouth. Instead, his killing intent erupted out in a crazy manner. The next moment, a weapon appeared in his hand. He felt that he had suffered a lifetime of insults in this place. Just when he was about to rush to row 40, the cold voice from the auction house rang out again, "If you dare to make another move, you will die without mercy." The life and death cultivator from room 19 felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him when he heard those words. He knew that if he dared to continue, the auction house would truly kill him. He put away his weapon, glanced at Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai with a cold gaze, then turned around and left. Not only did he not say a word, but he also didn't even enter the booth. Since the owner had already left, his two followers quickly followed him out. No one stopped him. The auction house could leave at any time, but after leaving, no one was allowed to enter. Everyone understood that the cultivator from room 19 had gone back to get reinforcements. As soon as the auction ended, rows 30 and 40 in the hall would face a life and death test. Shui Wuchang looked at Duan Gantai in a daze. How did the man she almost married become so powerful? She subconsciously looked at Ning Cheng again. Speaking of which, the one who made the most intimate gesture with her wasn't Duan Gantai, but Ning Cheng. Thinking of the scene when Ning Cheng held her in his arms, her body almost softened. It was Ning Cheng who hugged her and said to her, "Junior apprentice sister Wu Chang, I finally understand what love at first sight is." But after she left, she found that her perpetual moon time key had disappeared. Her gaze shifted from Ning Cheng to Duan Gantai and felt that both of them were equally insidious. Thinking about how these two people almost destroyed the entire Shui clan, she sneered in her heart. The cultivator from room 19 indeed had a powerful background, but if he wanted to take revenge on these two people, he probably wouldn't be able to do so. No one understood Ning Cheng and Duan Gantai's treachery better than her. Even Shui clan's spiritual vein had almost been taken away by these two people. In fact, Shui Wuchang truly wronged Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had only taken away Shui Wuchang's perpetual moon time key. Moreover, it was Duan Gantai who wanted to take away Shui clan's starry sky spiritual vein. If not for Ning Cheng, Duan Gantai would have already taken away Shui clan's spiritual vein. It stood to reason that Ning Cheng was the one who helped Shui clan keep the starry sky spiritual vein. After the matter calmed down a little, Shui Wuchang spoke up, "Friend from row 40, number 163, bids 4 million permanent essence pills. Is there a higher price?" No one continued to increase the price. If Ning Cheng's matter was a coincidence, then Duan Gantai's matter was the only explanation. That is, everyone who came to participate in this auction, whether sitting in the hall or in the booths. Don't underestimate this person. Maybe he's a powerhouse. What's more, 4 million permanent essence pills for a starry sky radish grass had already exceeded the price of the radish grass itself. Duan Gantai glanced at Ning Cheng. He thought that Ning Cheng would bid against him, but he didn't expect Ning Cheng to not increase the price. Ning Cheng couldn't outbid him, which he knew very well. But Ning Cheng didn't bid against him out of kindness, which made him feel a little puzzled. He had already decided that once Ning Cheng increased the price, he would also increase the price. He didn't believe that Ning Cheng could beat him. Even if he had to take out a few dozen more star veins, he still wanted to vent his anger. But now that Ning Cheng didn't bid, it felt as if he had punched the air, making him feel uncomfortable. 4 million permanent essence pills going once. 4 million permanent essence pills going twice. 4 million permanent essence pills going thrice. Congratulations to this friend from row 40, number 163, for winning the Starry Sky Radish Grass for 4 million permanent essence pills. As Shui Wuchang's voice fell, the auction for the Starry Sky Radish Grass came to an end. Chapter 787. When Ning Cheng put up the accordance heavenly pills for sale, he already had the intention to give up. He could feel Duan Gantai's determination. If he wanted to bid for the Starry Sky Radish Grass, he would have no choice but to fight against Duan Gantai. He obviously didn't have as much wealth as Duan Gantai. Comparing spiritual veins to Duan Gantai was just a brainless idiot. But using too many spiritual veins to bid for the Starry Sky Radish Grass was even more of a brainless idiot. As for asking Duan Gantai for more star veins, Ning Cheng didn't even think about it. In his plan, he had to reserve Duan Gantai's star veins. How could he give it to the auction house? Duan Gantai had just traded for the starry sky radish grass when Ning Cheng's sound transmission arrived. Congratulations to Brother Duan for the starry sky radish grass. To let Brother Duan spend less permanent essence pills, I had to hold back. Duan Gantai also replied with a sound transmission, Brother Ning, it's good that you held back. In fact, Brother Ning can't hold back. Brother Duan, do you know who sold that set of special grade accordance heavenly pills? And do you know who refined it? Ning Cheng didn't care about Duan Gantai's sarcasm and continued with a sound transmission. As soon as Ning Cheng said those words, Duan Gantai understood Ning Cheng's meaning. He sneered and replied, Brother Ning, don't tell me that you refined it, and then you want to help me refine the Eternal Emperor Continuance pills? Ning Cheng showed a smile, Brother Duan guessed it right. I really refined that set of accordance heavenly pills. Since I can refine special grade accordance heavenly pills, it naturally means that I'm a starry sky grade 9 pill emperor. Brother Duan obtained the starry sky radish grass, but without someone to help you refine the pills, even if Brother Duan obtained the starry sky radish grass, it would be in vain. Brother Duan, do you think that pill emperors who can refine starry sky grade 9 pills are everywhere? If Brother Duan really thinks so, then forget what I said. Duan Gantai spoke up with a cold voice, no wonder Brother Ning not only didn't compete, but also took out a set of accordance heavenly pills for sale. Brother Ning truly has a good plan. As for whether I ask Brother Ning to refine the pills, it depends on my mood. Duan Gantai naturally didn't want to ask Ning Cheng for alchemy. He knew that as long as he invited Ning Cheng for alchemy, he wouldn't be able to do anything to Ning Cheng even if the refining failed. Moreover, he knew that Ning Cheng wouldn't be so if he failed. Similarly, he also knew that what Ning Cheng had just said was the truth. Ning Cheng didn't continue to pester Duan Gantai. He believed that as long as Duan Gantai wanted the Eternal Emperor Continuance pill, he would find him sooner or later. As for Tsang Tsaiha, he was also a member of his mysterious yellow sect. As the auction continued, Duan Gantai seemed to know that he had become a character of the hour. As such, he continued to bid for things. Over the past few days, the frequency of his actions was the highest in the entire auction hall. After witnessing the ferocity of Duan Gantai's bid, no one was willing to stand up and compete with Duan Gantai. They all seemed to know that in terms of wealth, this cultivator sitting in the middle of the hall was the richest. Ning Cheng had also bought a few auxiliary spiritual grasses for refining the Eternal Emperor Continuance pill, as well as some high-quality artifact crafting materials. Regardless of whether Duan Gantai cooperated with him or not, he had to find the starry sky radish grass to refine the Eternal Emperor Continuance pill. Naturally, he would not let go of these supplementary spiritual herbs that could be used to concoct the Eternal Emperor Continuance pill. As for leaving the auction venue in advance, Ning Cheng did not even think about it. This kind of auction was definitely rare. He was not short of time, so why was he in a hurry to leave? Besides, he still had to wait for Duan Gantai to give him a reply. Halfway through the auction, the entire auction venue came to know that there were two rich fellows in the hall. As long as these two fellows started competing for treasures, no matter how many permanent essence pills they had, they would definitely bid for them back. On the last day of the auction, Ning Cheng felt that nothing good would come out. But Shui Wuchang suddenly raised a wooden box. As soon as the wooden box was raised, Ning Cheng felt the underworld crow ghost Rot 10 tremble, and a trace of excitement emerged from it. This is a wood origin crystal. I believe that any wood-attributed cultivator, or even an alchemy cultivator, would be interested in this wood origin crystal. Everyone knows that among the 5 origin crystals, the wood origin crystal is the most difficult to produce. Even 100 earth origin crystals wouldn't be worth as much as a wood origin crystal. The base price of this wood origin crystal is 500,000 permanent essence pills, and each increase in price must be no less than 10,000 permanent essence pills. Shui Wuchang's words sounded a bit exaggerated. But even so, as soon as her voice fell, many cultivators started to crazily increase the price. Ning Qing understood from the message from the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan that if the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan swallowed the wood origin crystal, the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan would advance to another level. Although Ning Qing rarely relied on the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan in battle, it would naturally be for the best if the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan could advance to another level. Ning Qing valued the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan because of the Eternal Night Domain's wood transformation forest. If not for the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan, he wouldn't have been able to break through the wood transformation forest so easily. From the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan's thoughts, Ning Qing felt that as long as the underworld crow Ghost Rot-Tan advanced to another level, it would reach Starry Sky Grade 7, which was equivalent to a powerhouse in the heaven-seated realm. If Ning Qing was poor, he wouldn't have cared. But now, not only was he not poor, but he was also very rich. Ning Qing hadn't even started bidding when the price rose to 1.6 million permanent essence pills. Ning Qing directly called out a price of 3 million permanent essence pills, and when the price was called out, the previous enthusiastic bids paused for a moment, but only for a moment. Soon, someone refreshed Ning Qing's bid with 3.1 million permanent essence pills. The one who refreshed Ning Qing's bid was Booth 10. Many of the cultivators were speculating, if Ning Qing had not clashed with the cultivator from Booth 19, would the cultivator from Booth 10 use the same method as the cultivator from Booth 19 to suppress Ning Qing? 4 million permanent essence pills. Ning Qing refreshed the price again without hesitation. Star veins and permanent essence pills were the last things he lacked right now. This friend in row 39, seat 137, has bid 4 million permanent essence pills. Is there a higher price? As Shui Wuchang's voice called out the price, everyone immediately looked at Booth 10. They wanted to know if Booth 10 would fly into a rage out of shame after the cultivator in the hall snatched the wood origin crystal. To the disappointment of most cultivators, Booth 10 didn't stand up to negotiate with Ning Qing. As such, Ning Qing obtained the wood origin crystal without any accident. Although wood origin crystals were many times more precious than other origin crystals, Ning Qing's bid of 4 million permanent essence pills far exceeded the value of the wood origin crystal itself. In fact, a wood origin crystal would already be worth more than 1 million permanent essence pills, which made the people in the auction hall sigh. Permanent essence pills truly felt good. For the rest of the auction, Ning Qing didn't bid again. The final item was a good grade flame. Since there were too many cultivators competing for the flame, Ning Qing also didn't bid. He had the flame, but it wasn't something he had to obtain. If he bid for everything, he would offend too many people. After the flame was won by the cultivator in Booth 3, Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce's auction also came to an end. Many cultivators left the auction hall, and Ning Qing also stood up. He didn't go out but walked towards the auction's consignment channel. All the cultivators who had submitted their items for auction could enter through this passage and take away the items they had obtained through the auction. Duan Gantai didn't go out immediately. He saw Ning Qing stand up and enter the consignment channel, but instead walked towards Booth 7. Although the auction ended, not many cultivators remained in the public square in front of Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce. These cultivators wanted to see what kind of blow would befall Ning Qing and Duan Gantai after coming out. There were also some cultivators who wanted to know who the person in box 19 was. Ning Qing walked out of the auction hall with satisfaction. He truly didn't suffer a loss this time. In this auction, he not only obtained many things he wanted but also a low-rank spirit artifact long spear. In addition to that, the number of star veins, permanent essence pills, and perpetual moon pills not only didn't decrease, but also increased. He now had more than 30 Starry Sky Essence Chi Spirit Veins, 20 million Permanent Essence Pills, and 1.2 billion Perpetual Moon Pills. Moreover, he bought a lot of things, otherwise, he would have even more. He came out. As soon as Ning Qing came out, some cultivators saw his figure. Ning Qing immediately saw the male cultivator in the life and death realm in Booth 19. This male cultivator in the life and death realm had 2 eternal level experts beside him, one of whom was at the late stage eternal realm and the other at the early stage eternal realm. No wonder this fellow dared to cheat him of his spirit veins in the auction. It turns out that he had 2 eternal-level experts backing him. Ning Qing wondered why he didn't see Duan Gantai. How could the life and death realm cultivator in booth 19 let go of Duan Gantai? He had cheated booth 19 of 5 million permanent essence pills, but Duan Gantai had slapped that fellow away with a single slap. It stood to reason that Duan Gantai had a deeper grudge against him. Just as Ning Qing felt puzzled, his spiritual consciousness swept out and detected Duan Gantai coming out of the auction hall. Seeing Duan Gantai come out after him, Ning Qing instantly understood what Duan Gantai was up to. He sneered in his heart. This fellow really wanted to find a hole to crawl into. No matter how cunning you are, you wouldn't have thought that I wouldn't use the perpetual moon time key. It's the 2 of them. One forcibly took away my 5 million permanent essence pills, and the other sneak attacked me at the auction. The life and death realm cultivator in booth 19 immediately called out when he saw Ning Qing and Duan Gantai. At this moment, the surrounding cultivators consciously stepped aside, and the public square in front of Ash Pagoda Chamber of Commerce also emptied. At this time, Ning Qing and Duan Gantai suddenly came out. I'm Spirit Devil Island's 2nd Island Master Zongan, and this is my 3rd brother, Spirit Devil Island's 3rd Island Master Shuqiu Hongwen. You 2 shouldn't be ordinary people, so why did you attack my Spirit Devil Island's disciple, Chu Xingshan, at the auction? If you dare to bully my Spirit Devil Island, then this place will be the place to spill blood. The late-stage Eternal Cultivator spoke up. He wore brown robes and had a calm expression. One couldn't see any joy or anger on his face. Ning Qing truly had no idea what kind of place Spirit Devil Island was. However, since this fellow dared to speak about fighting here, it meant that he had a certain status in the Devil Domain. Listening to this fellow's tone, Ning Qing understood that Spirit Devil Island was used to being arrogant. The reason why this fellow didn't start immediately was that he and Duan Gantai had calm expressions and didn't care about 2 eternal experts. Therefore, this fellow wanted to inquire about his and Duan Gantai's origins.